the government to give me back my money or some words to that effect, or the government must do something about it. One must understand that Mr. Bolt is not an attorney. He was not speaking in any forensic way to say the government has my money. He's saying that we have a government in Jamaica. Something has gone wrong at a financial institution. Something must be done about it. The matter has been moving along slowly, both in the criminal court and in the civil court. Now, persons ought not to ascribe to Mr. Bolt a political motive because he says the government should do something. That's very petty and without any merit whatsoever. But what has happened is that persons have now come down on Mr. Bolt and are saying, look, it's your fault why you have lost your money. And they are now entering into this victim blame, where you blame the person who suffered the loss or the damage and say it's your fault why you suffer this misfortune. And this is very, very unfortunate. And this is something that we believe we should discontinue, and we should understand that he's entitled to demand that the government does something about it. And there are reasons why he's so entitled. One of them is that the FSC, the body that is set up to regularize, manage, control, and see to it that financial institutions are compliant with the law, gave a certificate each year to SSL. So anybody who goes there, including the Prime Minister who had an account there, government departments and several members of parliament who had accounts there, they relied on the fact that the entity obtained a certificate from the Financial Services Commission, the FSC, and therefore they presume properly that the place is in good standing and a safe place to put your money. So you can't blame Mr. Bolt for going there. You would have to blame all the other persons who went there.
So
we find that he's demanding that the government should do something about it. Is the type of demand that citizens make when they are not satisfied that a matter being investigated by various government entities is going as quickly as he would like it to go. He was not ascribing any political favor, political support, or political condemnation. He was just demanding government action, which is common and is said by people, persons all over. When something happens,
so when you say
government, satisfied that it's been there too quickly.
So when you say government action, sir, what specifically, if anything, is Mr. Bolt requesting?
Okay, the matter is being investigated, and one person has been charged. That person could be described as a low employee or officer of the entity. It is more than curious that nobody else has been charged, and how can it be that not only Mr. Bolt's money, but all the other persons, including several senior citizens, their monies disappear from this entity, and nobody is being called upon. The officers, the senior persons who would have to transfer those funds. Because bear in mind that Mr. Bolt's funds were not taken in a basket or a scandal bag and put on a counter or put on the floor. It was bank transfer. It was transferred from a financial institution to SSL. So how did it leave SSL without a trace? It's not someone took up a bag of money and walk out. Checks and bank transfers were done to move this money. Why this can't be found? What has happened? What has happened to the computers that disappear mysteriously? Why are we not having fulsome disclosure of the investigation of this matter? And why nobody else is even being interrogated that we know of?
Is there attestable proof, sir, that the funds actually got to the account? Because one of the accusations that's out there now is that the money was stolen before it actually got to the account. You said it differently.
Well, let's deal with that. Who has the record, the information that the money was stolen and was not sent to SSL? Who has that information? And why not take it to the police and identify the person who stole the money? Why? Why this big red herring without a head nor a tail? Why? Well, let me tell you, Mr. Bolt's money was sent to SSL by bank transfers. The investigations conducted by Mr. Ken Tomlinson, who was put in charge by the FSC, his records confirm that Mr. Bolt's money was sent there. The persons who are saying it was stolen, which started at a certain media house, has not presented one bit of evidence to say it was stolen on the 10th of March and the amount stolen was $5 or $6. A red herring has been thrown across the path, and the question is, what's the motive for doing that?
I want to ask you what you think the motive is for doing that, and what do you make
Sorry?
of the... I want to ask you what you think is the motive for doing that, and what do you make of sections of the portions of the investigation being leaked without the public or yourself or your client being apprised of the entire situation?
Well, two things to be said about that. I am not aware that any part of the report from the investigators has been leaked. I'm not aware of that. If persons are saying they got parts of it by a leakage, then that would be something to be condemned and to question the reliability of the investigation, because they have taken bits and parts and leak it to their media of choice. Then you need to know why and why at this point it is being leaked, especially given the fact that the learned DPP is in today's newspaper as saying she's now ready to go to trial. What is happening?
Are you and your client a part of the...
Morning. Welcome, Portland Spice subscribers, listeners, and viewers. Welcome to Portland Spice TV for yet another Saturday morning. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the ways of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law do we meditate day and night. For we shall be like trees planted by rivers of water, that bringeth forth our fruit in our season. Our leaves shall not wither, and whatsoever we do shall prosper. Welcome to the Colin Bell Show. Talk to me live. We do it every Saturday morning, and we're also going to be doing it every Tuesday and Wednesday evening. Drive time 5 to 7 p.m. Getting hotter. This is the channel where we come with facts and truth. That's all. Facts, truth, one and the same. Consistency, reliable and accurate. That's what we come with. We are not a blogger. This is not tabloid. This is radio on YouTube, television on YouTube. So we are talking about. So we no come to mislead nobody, scandal nobody. We not depend them something. This is the real thing. Like up the channel, please. Like it up. Share it with some people this morning. It's a big morning. We're going to be having on one of Jamaica's brightest, one of Jamaica's brightest mind, Dr. Andre Orton, economist, is going to be here with us. He's going to be joining us somewhere about 9:30. At about 10:15, we're going to be joined by Professor Chris Charles in the Faculty of Politics and Social Psychology from the University of the West Indies. And we're going to be looking at the Blue Dot poll. Yeah? So, we want your participation this morning. We want to hear from you. Because I remember when the PNP poll came out that the PNP was leading, the GLP said that the poll was rigged. Was rigged. Yeah. And I said then, so a man thinketh, so is he. So, with all that is happening now, we hear a Blue Dot poll done by the company Blue Dot. The poll was paid for by Nationwide. And when you look at all of that, we have to go look at this poll here. But I'm going to wait till we talk to Professor Charles to talk about the poll. We also look at a narrative that is trying to force on us that the definition of a recession, the GLP is now coining their definition of what a recession is. So we're going to be looking at that. But more than that, we're going to be looking at the Jamaican economy, where it is now, where it is coming from, and where it needs to go and how it is going to get there. So hence we're going to be talking to Dr. Orton, Andre Orton out of St. James. He's going to be running in the general election against Minister of Constitutional Reform, Marlene Malahou Fort. But before we do all of that, let's deal with some local matters here in Portland. From last week, I have been calling and giving an idea to the blind bar teamuses. And I don't want nobody mix me up. The blind bar teamuses at the Portland Municipal Corporation. And the blind bar teamuses are the 9 councillors. Those are the ones I call the blind bar teamus, not the civil servant. Because this morning, I want to big up the civil servants at the Portland Municipal Corporation. They have gotten some commendation from the Auditor General. And I want to big them up. The CEO, big up the internal auditor. Because the Auditor General said 3 councils in Jamaica are really stepping up to the plate in terms of filing their financial report with the Auditor General. And Portland is one of them. Manchester is one. And I don't remember the next one, but it's 3 of them. But Manchester and Portland. So I want to big up the Portland Municipal Corporation for that. But I want to talk to the 9 blind bar teamuses that at the council. Well, I kind of sidestep the 2 PNP councillors because them not have no talk. Even if them see it, them can't do it. But them they did it already still. So when me I say if it do now, could have did do long time. But all right. Me I left them out tight. So the 7 blind bar teamers. We need a Port Antonio sign, a welcome to Port Antonio sign. My suggestion is that you put it over the marina, over the pier. Because I'm going to have a piece coming out on the Port Antonio Pier, the Errol Flynn Marina. I'm going to put out a piece right here on Portland Spice TV on it because a lot of people don't know what was being planned for that space. But since the GLP coming up power, that space dead. Because them now care nobody idea. Unless it will benefit them. You know? So we're going to have a piece coming out. So stay tuned to Portland Spice TV. Subscribe. Come take a message to me. Subscribe to the channel. And click on the notification bell. So that's when we drop them piece there, you can get it. Now I want to go to the Blue Lagoon. And I want to say morning to Kabu at IRA FM. We were on Sunday morning. And never went down there to talk about the Blue Lagoon. But we had extensive discussion about the Blue Lagoon. So the court case was dismissed on Thursday. And let me tell you something. I say it here on this channel all the time. It is important to vote for your elected representative. And I will say this right here. The people of Portland don't care about what happened at Blue Lagoon. They don't care about it. And I want to say to all the people who are coming from outside, fighting for the rights to Blue Lagoon, the people of Portland don't care one bit. I did not answer this question on IRA FM Sunday morning when Kabu asked me if there's political interference. But we know that there is political interference. We know that it is the politics that is allowing a public road to block off. And you can't excuse the two members of parliament and the mayor. The three of them. But I said the mayor, if he had any money in him, the mayor can put rest to this with one statement and one order. Tell the superintendent of police it is a parochial road. We give no permission for it to be blocked. Hence, the barriers are to be moved and the security who are manning the barriers are to be moved from the public road. So, the mayor is responsible. But why I say the people of Portland don't care? In the local government election, the people of Portland had a chance, and East Portland, to send a strong message to the two member of parliament. Me they tell us to vote out all of the councillor them, the GLP councillor them. Me they tell you that. That me tell Mansion Hill people don't return the mayor because the mayor is accomplice to what is happening at Blue Lagoon. The people of Fair Hill voting at GLP councillor. What do you think is going to happen? There are people on a Blue Lagoon who vote Labour in the local government election. And now scream. Politics determine policies. Now it's our phone doorstep. And people must understand this. That's why you change government. Because if the government is going contrary to the wish of the people must move them out. That's how your vote count. That's how your vote count. That's the only time you are equal with Michael Leachin. That's the only time you are equal with a Darrell Vaz and Anne-Marie Vaz. Because one vote them have, and you have one. And you must make yours count. Of course, the mayor is afraid. We know that. The mayor is a wimp. So if you put wimp, and I want to tell you something. This was tried when Benny White was mayor, you know. Benny White was invited to a meeting to do exactly this, you know. And Benny White refused, you know. I never remember to tell Kabu that Sunday morning. They tried to get Benny White to side with them down at Blue Lagoon. To stop the man them from hustle down there. And Benny White refused. But soon have a little wimp me, you know, a yes man, a larky. So whatever them tell him to do, him sign up to it. And hence, Blue Lagoon is where it is. But I say it again. The people of Portland and East Portland do not care about what happened at Blue Lagoon. Because if they had cared about what happened at Blue Lagoon, GLP would not win back the Portland Municipal Corporation. They would have voted them out. And that's why I stay away from this issue. I was the first person who stepped out there and put this issue on national TV. I don't know if you remember that. And when I see how the man them behave, and when you talk to the man them, the response I get, I step back. And I came on this platform and other platforms, and I say to the people, do not vote back for the mayor. The mayor is a part of the reason why the road down at Blue Lagoon lock off. But what you expect from a man who never have no community participation before him get into politics? You expect from him? Man no business with community. Be selfish people them. Yes, there were some issues to be sorted out at the Blue Lagoon. They could have been sorted out and the man them down there and do them business same way decent. Because see them find money for your pay security 24/7. That never did needed. If you did plan to sort it out, you could have get police down there daytime. That wouldn't cost you nothing. And then if you want, you have your security at night time. But they wanted to lock it down and take it away from the youth them. I'm showing you what happened at the court Thursday. Give a report from TVJ News.
And the parish court on Thursday after the ongoing court battle on the It was a somber mood outside the Portland Parish Court on Thursday after the ongoing court battle on the public's access to the Blue Lagoon in Portland was dismissed.
The hearing was in relation to an application regarding a procedural issue. The plaintiffs, unfortunately, the application was denied. So what took place today was a procedural loss. The substantive issue was not heard, but the matter was dismissed because the summons had lapsed.
The judge pretty much cited section 99 of the Parish Council Act that requires a notice to be placed in the Gazette, and that notice was not placed, and so that requires us to refile our case and place that notice in the Gazette.
The plaintiffs will now have to go back to the drawing board and refile the case.
I feel a little bit disappointed still. It's a little bittersweet moment for me because we understand the issue why it has been pushed back.
The lawsuit was filed in 2023 after the world-renowned Blue Lagoon was closed to facilitate renovation. The facility was later reopened, however, there are still concerns. Beach advocates, including the Jamaica Beach Birthright Environment Movement, JABEM, were worried that the public will now have to use private lands to access the facility after the main entrance remained closed. As such, they believe there is uncertainty over whether the public would continue to have unrestricted access. While we were unable to speak with the attorneys representing the plaintiffs or defendants in the lawsuit, Attorney-at-Law Isaac Buchanan told our news team that all is not lost.
What is important for people to know that the rights of the people have not been thrown away. A simple procedural defect would have caused the claim to be dismissed. All that means is that the lawyers will simply have to refile and the action remains live. There are substantive questions that has to be answered in terms of the disenfranchisement of the rights of the people of Portland Eastern.
You see, me not blame no judge. Me not blame no judge. I am blaming the people of Portland. This matter, not a matter that they need to go no court. The parish council, the mayor, the chairman of the parish council, and the other 8 councillors. Now 2 of them is on my side, from my side. But them alone can't do nothing, because we know they are not in agreement with what is happening. But the 7 GLP councillors, led by the mayor, Paul Thompson. Paul Thompson, mayor, is worship the mayor, Paul Thompson, have the authority to move those barriers forthwith if he want to. But again, me tell you, the people of Portland and Mansion Hill voted to keep this man. Before the local government election, the man go up on radio, admit that the road is a parish council road. And when Cliff Hughes asked him who blocked the road, him say him don't know. Cliff Hughes asked him who paid the security guard them, him say him don't know. What can go so? What can go so? So if the people of Portland care about Blue Lagoon and the road that go down in the Blue Lagoon, they will vote against the Jamaica Labour Party. And we don't talk upon that matter. It is a matter that deals with, that needs policy, and it is politics that makes the policy. So if you as a people don't want no change and you're happy with what is happening, then you continue to vote for Labour. Because it's not going to change. You need strong leadership. And as me say, they had tried it with Benny White when Benny was mayor. And Benny refused to do it. But now them find a yes man and Larky as mayor. And they on radio tell lie. Boy, you don't know. If you're just joining us on Portland Spice TV, welcome, welcome. We're going to be talking to Dr. Andre Artin this morning. We're going to talk about the Jamaican economy. And I will prove to all of you this morning that the Prime Minister and the GLP is a bunch of liars, is a bunch of deceivers who are out to deceive the Jamaican people, out to con the Jamaican people with all kind of bamboozling. The economy is in a recession, and they want to tell you that the economy is not in a recession. They are also admitting, well, they can't deny it, that we have had 2 quarters of contraction, negative growth. 3rd quarter decline, 3.5% negative. 4th quarter, 1.8. And the 1.8 is from the PIOJ winner trust. So we're still waiting on the starting figure. We're still waiting on the starting figure. Because I think when the 3rd quarter PIOJ came out at 2.something%, and when starting came with the real numbers, it was 3.5. So we're still waiting on Statin's figure to determine where the Jamaican economy is. And I see Dr. Artin in the chat room. We're going to bring him in now. Yeah, man. Doc.
Hey, Colin, morning to your listeners as well. What's up?
Well, my comrade, because I'm going to tell you something, Doc. I don't con my people, I'm going to make them know straight up. Say me a comrade to the max. So, my comrade brother and economist is on the line. Welcome to Portland Spice TV, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's good being here. How are you guys?
Everybody good, man. I don't know if you can see them in the chat room. Them in there kick up a storm.
No,
Dr.
I'm not
Arton.
seeing them, but I'm happy that they are there because now, more than ever, we need these discussions, you know?
Yes, man. We have to educate the people because I was talking about the bamboozling of the Jamaican people. Dr. Arton, you're an economist. What or when a country is in a recession?
All right. You see, economic growth is measured predominantly annually and quarterly. So the standard measures are annual measures, but a more short-term bird's eye view of the business cycle puts economic measurements in quarters. Now, when a country has negative growth for a year, right, that's considered to be a trough in the business cycle and is also considered to be a recession. But a more formal definition is after the country has encountered 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. For Jamaica, we had negative growth in the middle of the year from the July to September quarter, and we also had negative growth from the October to December quarter. So, by definition, as long as a country has 2 consecutive quarters, which Jamaica did, of negative growth, then that is considered to be a recession. I saw you trying to put up some definitions on the screen a while ago. What was that definition saying?
The definition is the Oxford Dictionary definition that basically was saying the same thing that you were saying, that once you have 2 consecutive quarters of economic decline, that is a recession. So there's a dictionary definition.
Yeah, but you know, when you're measuring economic growth annually, let us say we had 2 consecutive quarters of decline, and it was not enough to outweigh the 2 consecutive quarters of growth.
Right.
Then that could say we're in a technical recession according to the government
Yeah.
and the PIOJ, which I'm very disappointed in, by the way.
Yes.
But the 2 quarters of negative growth more than double and almost triple the positives that we got at the beginning of the year. So for the entire year, we still end up with a net negative. And with a net
Yes.
negative, it's not a facade, it's a real situation. And it's something that we have to highlight because Jamaica now is in a pivotal moment in its entire economic life. And because we're in a pivotal moment in our economic life, we have to understand what has brought us here.
Dr.
And
Arton,
what has brought us
hold
here?
on. All right, go ahead, continue.
Yeah, man, what has brought us here is gross mismanagement of the country's economy. What has brought us here is a lack of care for the skill set and the potential of our people. So the government set out on a mission to create jobs, but they have created jobs that are insignificant, jobs that are underutilizing the potential of the brilliant, beautiful, smart, talented Jamaican people. And these are
And
the
so we have a
issues we must address.
5% of underemployment.
Yes, yes. So what you have, notice when you go to America, you pump your own gas, even fit up your own furniture. There are a lot of handiwork that you do on your own because these add no value to gross domestic product. So we have a lot of people here working in jobs and services that don't add to the country's gross domestic product. And that is where we find the challenge overall. So we have to be cognizant and mindful of that.
I want to play something for you, Dr. Arton. I want to play something for you and you listen it and tell me what you think about this.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
Andrew Holness rebutting opposition spokesman on finance Julian Robinson's pronouncement in Parliament on Thursday that the country is heading into a recession. Mr. Robinson said his conclusion was based on the projection of the Planning Institute of Jamaica, PIOJ, which believes gross domestic product, GDP, will record a second consecutive quarter of decline for the period ended December last year. At the handing over of a social housing in Manchester on Friday, the Prime Minister addressed the issue.
But sometimes bad government with bad policies can throw economies into a recession. Now, what has caused the last 2 quarters of the economy not to show growth? It's simple. One, we had Hurricane Beryl in July, and that impacted the agricultural sector in a significant way. And what happened after Hurricane Beryl? We had a sustained period of heavy rains, which literally destroyed our road infrastructure.
But he stressed that his administration has implemented sufficient buffers to withstand unexpected shocks to the economy by putting aside money from previous budgets. He says it's the reason why thousands of persons were able to receive relief grants shortly after Hurricane Beryl and Tropical Storm Raphael in 2024. He also pointed to road patching work being done across the island to address some of the worsening infrastructure resulting from the 2 weather systems.
If there were truly a recession and production fell, one would suggest that businesses would also be closing and unemployment would be rising.
In fact, the Prime Minister says unemployment has been on a steady decline over the past 7 years. And according to him, the economic indicators are not pointing to a recession. He noted that the country will pay $154 billion less for principal debt repayment in the budget for the new fiscal year and $4 billion less in interest repayment on this debt.
The current fiscal year had $317 billion for principal debt repayment, which the new budget, which is presented, would not have that level of debt repayment. In the current budget year, which is coming to a close, we had to make provisions of $182 billion for interest repayment. This year, interest repayments are $177 billion.
Finance Minister Favour Williams will kick off the budget debate in Parliament on March 11, 2025. Krista Campbell, TV.
Dr. Horton, I saw you laugh at the stage when I listened to that part when him say bad government can drive the country in the economy.
I think he is internalizing. He's speaking about himself.
Mhm.
I cannot imagine that a person would sum up their own ideas, their own attitude towards economic management so profoundly as he did a while ago.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
You
The
see,
man said bad government policy.
the good thing about economics, it's in black and white, it's measurable, right? And what I recognize the country keeps doing.
Where Dr. Horton gone? We lost Dr. Horton. Hope him get back soon. Let's just take him off here and wait for him to come back in the studio. All right, I still like him coming back. So, we lost Dr. Horton. Dr. Horton, we're still waiting on you. But, my people, the first part of that statement by Andrew Wellness. All right, Dr. Horton is back. Yeah, Doc.
Are you guys hearing me?
Yes, man, you're back. We're hearing you.
Yeah, a call was coming in on my phone.
Yeah.
Yes, as I was explaining to you, they keep bringing up the debt situation as an economic growth situation. And the fact of the matter is, we have been stipulated to grow by 4 or 5% per annum since 2019. And we are now in 2025, 6 years later. And instead, we are declining by 1%, which is normal. This is the typical Jamaican economy.
Yeah.
So it is nothing new. But what is new now is that the People's National Party has equipped itself with economic practitioners like myself
Mhm.
who understand modern macroeconomic growth impetus, and we are willing now to put the right measures in place in order to facilitate growth. The
Yes.
government has been operating rules, and these fiscal rules mandate us to pay down our debt because it is written in law.
Yes.
Now we take with time and we pay off the debt and so on. Nothing is wrong with paying down the debt. You get a good credit. So our credit rating has gone up, right? To a B plus, I think it is.
But is the debt stock really going down, Dr. Arton?
No,
Oh, because
the debt
that's one
stock
of the
is
things.
very high. What has been happening is that we tend to borrow to pay down debt mainly.
And that
So
can't
more
continue.
additional borrowing and so on and so forth. It is the GDP that has been increasing in nominal terms,
Mhm.
meaning because of price increases, not because of output increases over the last couple of years, why the debt to GDP has been going down.
Right.
But let me make this point. Even though we have a better credit rating today than we did 10 years ago, 10 years ago we attracted more foreign direct investment than we attract today.
Say that again.
Even though we have a better credit rating today than we did 10 years ago, 10 years ago we attracted more foreign capital than we do today.
Why so?
Because of many, many factors. One of those include the international market confidence in the Jamaican economy to provide a rate of return for their investment. Another is that back in 2015, we had the best stock exchange in the world. And because of that, capital follows profit. So when you have the best stock exchange, but since the Jamaica Labour Party came into power in 2016, the Jamaica Stock Exchange has been on the decline.
But Dr. Arton, that is why when the GLP took power in 2016, they believed that they could have grown the economy by 5% in 4 years.
Yeah,
That
because
was
of the
when.
foundation established by the People's National Party.
Talk
So
to me.
they think that because it's a government thing, it's locomotion. It's not locomotion. It requires careful strategies and thinking.
Mhm.
And we have recognized what it takes to accomplish these goals. But what I recognize with the JLP is that they are PR government with lip service. So
No action.
no action. So they will earmark funds to do projects, but the projects don't get done. Or if done, they are not done properly in a sustainable way.
Hence, the
And this has
capital
been,
budget was cut by $19 billion for 2023, 2024.
and it's not only the cutting of the budget, that's the capital budget, that's a challenge. Many projects, the monies don't get spent because of government bureaucracy. So a lot of projects are out there for infrastructural expansion. Not saying that they are the right projects, but they are projects nonetheless. We have to now start to think about energy. How do we reduce the cost of energy so that the manufacturing and the service sector can benefit? When
Because
I talk
Jamaica have the
about
highest cost of energy in the world, isn't it?
one off, one off, one
One of
off,
the
we're
highest
about
cost of
number
energy
5.
in the
Yeah.
world. We're
Yeah, so
about
we have
number 5.
40 cents per kilowatt sometimes, and as Minister Paul said, uh, it sometimes goes up to 50 cents a kilowatt, depending.
What can go so?
All right.
Well, them say we don't have third world country again, we have developing country. But how can we manage that kind of energy bill to compete in manufacturing and stuff like that with countries across the world who
It's
are
very
paying?
difficult, and that is one of the fundamental challenges that we have faced over the years. And these are the issues that I think the government should be addressing, because these issues are real issues. And we have to know, understand that the country cannot be a PR country. The country is a real country that the world is depending on. Are you here?
Yes, man, we're hearing you loud and clear.
Yeah, man, the world is depending on us. So we have to set a positive example that will provide the right resources for us. And technology and innovation has a key role to play in how the country graduate towards being a positive growth country and move towards our 2030 goals based on the United Nations vision. As a matter of fact, my latest book overcoming productivity challenges in small countries. We did a simulation as to when we can arrive at the Vision 2030 goals based on our current trajectory. And the research is saying by 2060, we can arrive at those goals.
So we're
So,
not going to get there for 2030.
no, we're not going to get there for 2030. And it's obvious. This government is a party shop government that they don't understand what is necessary. And that is why Nigel Clark left. That is why he ran away, because he recognized that all they promised, all they wanted to do, they do not have the acumen to do it. They do not have the skill set to do it.
They lack
So
talent.
they have good measurement of debt and modeling of debt and repayment of debt, and convincing the country that paying down debt is the most important thing, when over the last couple of years we increase our incidence of poverty and dependence on welfare. So we now have to begin to realize that the water situation is serious and we have to fix it.
Hold
We
on,
have
you
to
say we increase our incidence of poverty.
Yeah, and our dependence on benevolence for survival.
Hence, we are putting more money in path and putting more people on path when we should be taking off people if we're growing the way they say we are growing.
Exactly. Exactly.
Explain to my viewers and listeners the fact that the government constantly say that we have 3.5% unemployment, the lowest ever. How though we have that kind of unemployment and the country went into a recession, people are suffering, cost of living, people are bawling every day.
This is a classic scenario where economics does not work for a country. This is a classic scenario of a country violating economics law. The relationship between unemployment and GDP is what we call Okun's law. So when you're growing, it means that you're hiring more people, they are becoming more productive, and as a result, unemployment is falling.
Yes.
And as a result, that's supposed to be a negative relationship between GDP growth and unemployment. When GDP is growing, unemployment is falling. But what you recognize with Jamaica, and this is why my research is so relevant, because we observe these, what we call idiosyncrasies that defy the laws of economics, where GDP is falling, right? And unemployment is also falling. So we have a situation where we have too many cooks spoiling the broth.
And it's supposed to be when unemployment is falling, GDP rise.
Yes. But in Jamaica, both fall together. And that is because we don't employ our people in value-added industries. We
So
employ our people in industries that do not add value to the country's gross domestic product.
So we have 300,000 people that sell rag and lighter and kerchief and crocs on the road.
Yeah, so that's basically what you call commerce.
And we have
So,
200,000 people are working at Mr. Chin shop. I sell things for the
yeah, the
Chinaman.
wholesale and retail industry hires the bulk of our labor in this country.
And they get minimum wage and sometimes
Minimum
less.
wage. So we have to begin to realize that no, we have to reorient our minds as to what is the value of our people and what industries are we going to focus on, what industries are we going to penetrate. I did a presentation in the shadow cabinet the other day where I broke down the different industries that we need to shed labor from, because my book also highlight that there are gross overemployment in many of the industries, meaning they are employing more people than what they need to produce their maximum, including the government. So we have to now reduce those industry employment levels and filter those people into technologically driven, innovative industries so that we can now create a foundation for Jamaica to move forward productively, because that is the aim, or that should be the aim. Andrew Holness and his government don't have a clue, and their followers are even worse, because what they do, they don't do any background research. All they do is have these many trolls on the internet following your page, commenting negative stuff, even when you are trying to express to Jamaican people what is happening.
They don't care about the truth.
No.
I want to pick your brain this morning, Dr. Arton, because you mentioned the industries that we should be looking at. And I don't know if you were online when the culture and the creative industry made their presentation to the shadow cabinet, because I am of the opinion, and the firm opinion, that the culture and the creative industry is where Jamaica's wealth lies.
Yeah, that's a part of it, you know. And the thing with Jamaicans is that we always think one-sided. So we always think that there's this one specific industry or this one specific channel where all our wealth is going to come from. And the fact of the matter is that's not the case.
Right.
Every economy has to have a balanced portfolio and a balanced offering of industries to provide options for its employment and for business development. So
Yes.
the fundamental issue is that no, we have not been able to harness the potential of our people properly. And you are right, the creative industry has a role to play because Jamaicans were natural born creatives, we're natural
Talk
born
to me.
entertainers, and
Yes.
the world depends on us for this. But because it's not formalized and because we don't have a structure in place, it makes it very difficult to measure the economic output of these particular events and industry applications.
Mhm.
But when you look at the brighter picture and you look at countries who have been able to achieve sustainable economic growth over the last 50, 60, 70 years, they made a thrust towards technology and innovation being embedded into every other industry in their particular country.
Definitely.
So a
Yes.
country like Singapore, highly technology driven, Japan, highly technology driven, even the United States, highly
Yeah.
technology driven. And we missed the boat 70 years ago. In 1950, technology represented 0% of China's GDP.
Mhm.
Today, technology is over 32% of China's GDP. What percentage of Jamaica's GDP is technology,
You
if I
tell
may
us.
ask? It's not known, it's not measured.
It's not measured
No, as a
in
matter of fact,
in this technology age.
no, exactly.
But
As a
that's why
matter of fact,
I tell people, Dr. Arden, that we have too much analog politicians in Jamaica.
yes. We used to have the Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovation, right?
Mhm.
No, it's the Ministry of Science and Telecommunication and whatever, whatever. So this government has inextricably
Remove technology.
relegated technology to just telecommunications. And
Mm-mm.
that's so myopic
Mm.
in their thinking. I am like, what are we doing? Where are we headed? Telecommunications is even becoming redundant and obsolete with artificial intelligence being so prevalent. So
Yes.
we have to now begin to think about other types of technology, other types of innovation, and other types of market penetration strategies. So I don't know. We have a far way to go. And if unless we begin to recognize that we need leaders who understand what we want to do, we will never get it done.
Mhm.
And that is the fundamental challenge. We have leaders who don't understand what we need to get done. So all they are there for is to follow through the rhetoric and to say, yes, I'm the prime minister. Yes, I'm the minister of finance. But the objectives have not been patriotic. The objectives have not been nationalistic. The objectives have not been how do we change the scope of vision of a nation of such remarkable people.
You are the shadow minister of, remind me your
Science,
port.
technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship.
Yes. And therefore, you mentioned technology a while ago. Give us an insight into where a PNP administration would take this country in a PNP administration.
Yeah, man, a PNP administration is going to use science, technology, and innovation to change the face of Jamaica. We have a lot of plans in place. As a matter of fact, we plan to ramp up the technological inclusion in all the industries, including crime fighting,
Mhm. We're hearing you, Dr. Arden. We're hearing you.
including crime fighting. Let me show you a simple scenario that I outlined for them, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
We talk about technology, we talk about innovation, and we want to use the idea of technology and innovation to create innovation hubs, to create incubators for business, to support startup businesses, and to encourage public-private partnership. For technology, we want to expand the broadband access because now, Jamaica only have 55% coverage. We want to bring it up to at least 90. We want to promote digital transformation in government and also digital transformation in business and to invest in emerging innovations like artificial intelligence, blockchain, and the Internet of Things. Fundamentally, even for crime, right? One of my proposed ideas is for us to use 5 million US dollars to buy 2,800 drones. Each parish will get 200 drones, right?
Uh-huh. Okay.
And the police will have to have these 2,800 drone flyers. So we're introducing a new industry there where
And
we
you,
have to
so
train new
right away
experts.
you're going to create 2,800 new jobs.
No, more than that. More
Let's
than that.
about
The 2,000.
3,500.
No, listen. If you have persons working on 8-hour shifts,
Yes.
3
Yes.
8 24 because it's
Yeah.
24 hours. So we're going to have 3 shifts of 2,800 drones in the air monitoring, right?
Oh, hallelujah.
2,800 times 3, 8 3 is 24. So we're looking at 8,400 people
Dr.
being
Arton.
employed in
Dr.
this
Arton.
industry alone.
Hold
Yes.
on. I would have loved get back your video because where you're talking,
Oh,
if you
you're
see,
not seeing me.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you
man.
see?
Because when you are talking, Dr. Arton, more you repeat it, please and thanks.
Yeah,
Give
man.
me
So I
that
was
drone thing there.
explaining to
And
you.
hold on, labor rights. This is a PNP idea. We have put the stamp on it. We now give this for Andrew to use it because it's election year. So we are going to implement it. Talk again, Dr.
Yeah,
Arton.
man, because we want to be able to monitor crime, we're gonna use $5 million from the budget. We're gonna buy 2,800 drones and we're gonna operate a 24-hour drone system. Each parish is going to have at any given time 200 drones monitoring their airspace, monitoring the ground, surveilling the area. Now,
Surveying the coastline.
when you have 2,800 drones working on 3 shifts, it means that you need 2,800 person on shift 1, 2,800 people on shift 2, 2,800 people on shift 3. That is 8,400 people only. You
Yeah.
understand? Plus, you have to have reserve because people take day offs.
Right.
So you
And you have
need
to
more
have
people
people who are going to maintain the drone them
and
and all that.
people monitoring and linking them to the police on the ground. So you have computer personnel. I watch the camera. I say, hey, guess what?
So that sound
Over
like
there
about
in Mount Salem,
10,000. That sound like about 10,000
exactly
jobs. And these should
10,000
be
jobs
good
from
paying
just
jobs.
one technology advancement. And
And
that is just one.
we're
And
going
I
to
have
use that
many
push down
more
crime.
ideas and incidents where we're going to change the face of Jamaica employment status. We're going to minimize our employment in the non-productive industries like pumping gas and like
Yes.
and those sort of stuff, packing bags in the supermarket, and we're going to put our intelligent young people's potential to good use.
Dr.
We're
Arton,
going to
hold
partner
on.
with the institutions UWI, UTech, Northern Caribbean University, and all these tertiary institutions to reorient their curriculums to move towards drone technology, move towards machine learning, move towards the Internet of Things, move towards artificial intelligence, because this is the future that we want for our people. Jamaica
Brilliant.
must become a high income earning country
Of
where
course.
we do not depend on welfare. As you notice in America, they are beginning to realize that a lot of this welfare is unproductive. So Trump is cutting the welfare budget. So a country like Jamaica now should take its mind off aid and look at our surroundings, internalize our domestic industry, and start to think about what is our role as a sovereign nation. So it's not just about the constitutional reform. We need economic reform because that is the only way this country is going to move forward how it ought to. And we say that without any form of apology or remorse. We need
You see,
leaders who have understanding of economics and can do what is right by us.
you see that question on the screen, Dr. Arton?
question. Let me see. How much for the infrastructure for data collection of these drones? The data collection now and the data storage is going to be computer based, right? The average computer with storage. And that's a good question
Yeah.
because what this does now, this opens up another industry for us to get into the data storage of information. So now we start building data centers, and these data centers now will now open avenues for other countries to store their data with Jamaica. And the expense from the budget is going to be minimal compared to the profit that we are going to be making from these things. We need to now start seeing ourselves as a modern economy, and we are
Yes.
driven towards the future. We have to leapfrog the rhetoric. We're still stuck in 1950, no problem, but we have the potential now to go to 2030,
We have the
2060,
talent.
2100. We
Yeah.
have the talent. So we have to now begin to start using this talent and to say, this is Jamaica, this is my Jamaica, and this is what we want for our people.
You mentioned the non-productive jobs, Dr. Arn, and I was about to say to you that when you go to Walmart in America now, most of the cash registers are self-cash. You cash out yourself. So they are
Mhm.
getting rid of cashiers. You talk about bag packing. They're getting rid of cashiers as well. And in the technology industry that you speak about, I want to speak about the culture and the creative industry where we are looking to earn easily 30 billion US dollars
Yeah,
annually from the culture and the creative
and that
industry.
would be a
And
double of our GDP because
right,
our
and with
GDP is
what you
about
talk
18
about,
billion.
with those drones that you talk about, that sound like we can drive down murders to under 700 a year.
And that is where we ought to go. We are a civilized nation, and we need to act accordingly. And we need to have our young people realize that civilization is not just wearing Gucci and
No.
and driving a beast. Civilization is when you recognize that you have other ecosystems around you
Yes, that you
and
need
you
to
are not
tap into.
alone. So you don't disturb those ecosystems, you give them potential to thrive. And that is it. We don't recognize that I am an ecosystem, you're an ecosystem,
Yes.
right? So we tend to now dwell in conflict many times and don't understand what it takes to move forward. So these are the challenges that we face.
Dr. Arton, lovely. I mean, I want you to talk too much more ideas them. So I'm now gonna ask you not more in terms of going forward under PNP administration because the budget comes up and I'm certain somebody will be carrying your message in the budget. But we talked about the recession a while ago. And one of the things that just pop up on my phone back to me is that Jamaica have 12 sectors in economic. And in the last 2 quarters, 11 of them decline. Only one
Mhm,
show any growth, the financial sector.
mhm.
What does that mean?
It means that we are not properly diversified because what happens is that economic sectors are like bonds, are like stocks portfolio. And if
Yes.
you're properly diversified, when one is going down, the others are going up because you're hedging, right?
Yeah.
So our focus does not understand what it takes. And because we are not able to measure technology, we're not able to realize the technology gaps and the deficiencies.
Yeah.
The Prime Minister spoke about agriculture. Agriculture is just about 7% of our GDP. So if the hurricane affects agriculture, it does not affect the other industries so pervasively because you now need to put buffers in place for it not to,
But
because
him
you
say
are
my
the
buffers,
leaders.
he
What
said he put
buffers?
not the one that carrying a recession.
Listen, Jamaica is running a PR country, and the PR is killing us.
Yes.
PR is killing us. And
You know what
until
scares me, Dr. Arton? Let me tell you what scares me with all of this argument about the recession. I don't know if you remember 2008 when we had the global recession and the GLP administration led by Bruce Golding, Finance Minister Audley Shaw, said that the recession would not affect us. And they moved very late and remember the economy they crashed the economy.
Yeah, I was living in England at the time. I was doing my PhD. Funny enough, much of my research at that time surrounded the recession variables like the stock market, asset prices,
Mhm.
interest rates, and so on and so forth. Fundamentally, one of Jamaica's major challenges is how the banks operate and how they treat businesses and people. There's something that we call the interest rate pass through, which is when the central bank changes their policy rate. How
Mhm.
do commercial banks respond to that change? Now, what happens is this: the commercial banks pass through all the costs associated with interest rate increases to their customers, but they do not transfer all the benefits. They transfer the cost. So when the Bank of Jamaica increases interest rate, the commercial banks increase interest rate right away.
But when they
So
cut
Bank
it,
of Jamaica raised their policy rate from 6% to 8%. Central Bank raised for them lending rate from 13 to 15%, 20% right away. But on the flip side, when the
Mhm.
central bank reduces their interest rate from 8 to 6%, from 6 to 4%, the commercial bank does nothing. And this is a fundamental challenge because monetary policy that flows through the central bank is
Mhm.
geared towards stimulating economic activity through investment via lower interest rates.
Mhm.
And if you are in, and I warned Jamaica about this in 2021, when
Mhm.
all the countries were increasing their interest rate, and well-thinking economists like myself and the Japanese were the only country who did not increase interest rate to hedge against the US.
Yeah.
If you want to, in fear of capital flight. So what happens is this: when the US increase their interest rate, because financial capital moves across the world, people believe that they are going to withdraw their money out of Jamaica and put it in the US because US have higher interest rate.
Mhm.
But at last, the growth potential of business in the US
Mhm.
is not the same as the growth potential of business in Jamaica. So
Right.
even though US is giving you a slightly better interest rate on treasury bills, the US doesn't have the distance to frontier that Jamaica has. So we can market ourselves on our distance to frontier. What's distance to frontier?
Yeah.
Picture two oak trees. One of them tall to the ceiling.
Mhm.
One of them tall like a table.
Right.
Which one of them has more room to grow?
The one with tall like a table.
Because it has a lot of room to grow. So
Yes.
the one tall like a table is the Jamaican economy. The one that's tall to the ceiling is the US economy.
So it
It
not
has
much
already
further for go.
matured,
Buck, yeah.
and as a result has very little room to grow. It's like a boy who is 18 versus a boy who is 3 years old. A
Yes.
boy who is 18 has already matured and has little room to grow in terms of height, etc., etc. But a
Right.
boy who is 3 has 15 more years to grow. The Jamaican economy has been dwarfed to 3 years old through bad leadership.
So we have a whole
And
heap of
that
growth space.
potential still exists even to today.
Yes.
Think about us like a young, fresh, clean sheet of paper that has existed but has not been drawn on.
Not no right on it yet.
Scribblings, scribblings, but no real image, no real pretty picture has been
Mhm.
created. Yesterday, I was looking at the coastline of Montego Bay, and my thoughts went to the coastline in Baltimore, the coastline in Seattle, the coastline in Dominica Republic, the coastline in Hong Kong, the
Mhm.
coastline in Colombia. And it's a very different picture. The place is grossly underdeveloped. And until we recognize that our distance to frontier is an asset for us to capitalize on, and we do not see ourselves as being underdeveloped without potential,
Right. So we know
then
there's hope.
yes, there is hope. And this is the hope that we need to begin to work on as a country and a nation of such remarkable people. If you speak to Jamaicans around the world, wherever they work, whatever they do, they are the movers and shakers.
Yes.
Even if they are jokers, the
Yeah.
jokes they give in the business place and so on keeps the sunshine radiating in those cold countries.
Yes. Yes.
And that's an asset, right? Personality is an asset
Of
because
course.
when you realize, as I was telling someone, was it this morning? Uptown people have no culture, right? They don't have no culture. They don't know their neighbors. They learn culture through institutions. So their children learn culture through school or through church or
Yeah.
co-curricular activity, dancing and chess and swimming and whatever the case may be.
Yes.
The intermingling of people who are true to their selves in terms of relating their natural language and body language, which is dancing, creates in the inner cities new innovative approaches towards interactions. And that is what the anthropologists refer to as culture, right? Because that culture allows the dynamic innovation of ideas, movement, talking, and so on. The English language is very static, you know.
It is?
Yes,
I
it
thought it
doesn't
was
evolve
dynamic.
so rapidly. If 1 and 2 words a year when white people come up with it and it sound good to them, like last year them bill a word named Demore or whatever the case may
Yeah.
be.
So
But
demure.
the youth them in the garrison build new words pan rapid.
Every
L.A. Lewis build new words on a
that's true.
rapid.
That's true.
Elephant Man build new words on a rapid.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
many times you want to express yourself and you say, boy, I may not have the words to explain. That is because the English language limits our tongue. And
Oh.
we, as a Jamaican, we're far more dynamic than them. But
Then
because we are governed by their ways of expression and we are structured in that way, L.A. Lewis come up and say, Sobolos, hear them, L.A. Lewis are idiot.
madman.
Where the man have sense
What do you
because
mean?
he is now picturing a situation that he cannot find a word in the dictionary to
So I'm saying
explain. So he
it's so
create the word.
symbolious.
We know as Jamaicans hear them in chat body, he can't. Me live a England teacher. I can speak the Queen's English fluently. As a matter of fact, me have cousins who go to England 2 weeks and you can't tell say no England them born
Yeah.
because they have this high accent where you cannot tell say no England them born. Now this is my journey. People have always appreciated me for my authenticity. And
Yes.
even when I work with foreigners and I interact with foreigners, they appreciate the Jamaicanness in my accent because
People
that
love
is
the
me.
people love
And
the Jamaican
say
accent.
that
People
again,
love
say that
the
again.
people
What did
love
you
the
just say? Say that
Jamaican.
again. Come here.
Yeah.
Oh my
Them
God.
want to hear
And
it.
big crowd draw around you.
Yeah.
But to the Jamaican intellectuals who are wannabe English, never go on a plane and go to England, never go to one of the Queen birthday party, don't know who is Thomas Delarue, don't know anything about the British culture, don't understand themselves, don't know who is Francis Bacon, who was sent on the first expedition by King James to our African shores to scope us out, to
Yeah.
re-socialize us into the British ways. England colonized both India and Africa. Indians rejected the English language, rejected the English culture, maintained then curry and chickpeas and dal, and not to use no deodorant to feed them thing, enough onion and thing. We know more English wannabe than we can find. So
And
we start now hating ourselves. Lord in country, Lord in black, look upon him in black like a tar.
so we're not doing enough to preserve our culture.
Daddy, if the whole place become uptown, Jamaica become obsolete to the world.
Long time.
So it's a good thing we have to make better than, you understand what I mean?
Yes.
So
We have to
the
preserve.
fact of the matter is, we're not serious about leadership. We're serious about creating and maintaining the facades that
Yeah.
prevent us from being ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there are many people who help to maintain this. When them see you then dung in your ears, Andre, you need for this, you need for that, you need for that, you need for this. And through politics, then things say you're a size. So it's like you don't accomplish what you need to accomplish, pass the threshold. But if you join politics, now everybody have advice to give you.
You
Every
know, hold
Jamaican
on.
now feel say,
You
oh,
know, our
this
friend,
represent me, so this represent me, so that no represent you, so. And when can't tell Bush Stewart, who chat more patois than Bush Stewart?
and them vex because Mark Golden
Who wear
attack
more
patois.
shots than Bush Stewart?
But hold on, Andre. Dr. Rose said to me the other day, politics is the only thing where she say the janitor telling the surgeon how to cut the patient for an operation.
Look at that.
Yeah. It not happen nowhere else. But my brother.
And that is because politics has been such a facade. So we
Yeah.
need to change it from politics to economics and leadership. That is
Leadership,
where we
my
are
brother.
to go.
Leadership. That's the
That is where we
critical
are to
part
go.
of it. Because I
Critical.
believe that leaders are born.
Yes.
And
But you
nurtured.
own your craft over the years.
Yes.
You own your craft.
So you
But many
go on.
people, it's like the Antichrist, right? Everybody want to present themselves as leaders. But not everybody prepare themselves to lead.
To lead.
And that is what I've recognized with these countries, is that a lot of people want, but the tide has shifted. Africa has begun to wake up. So all these imposters who present themselves as leaders who are politicians in their bowels, we will figure them out and flush them out.
Yes.
Because now materialism has blindfolded. Let me tell you a story. Lee Kuan Yew said the CIA came and wanted to infiltrate one of his foreign ministers. And given the high culture of respect and dedication from his team, the foreign minister reported it to his official and reported it to him. So he called the CIA into a meeting and said, okay, we understand what is happening, but you don't worry. Just donate 100 million US to the country's national development projects and we call it a day. CIA said, no, we are going to give you 10 million for yourself and your party and we call it a day. And the man I said, what a disrespect. Normally, a typical Jamaican politician, or you take the money with their
Grab
licky
that.
licky self.
Yeah.
Because at the first, maybe I say grown people who behave so deprived, like them a suffer.
Yes.
Oh, you know, if you put yourself in a leadership and act so like you suffer, you grab,
Well,
and
hold on.
rape the budget year
10
after
million
year
is a
after
whole heap
year.
of money to where the money are scraped for. The money are scraped for $50,000. And when me say them are scraped for 50,000 Jamaican, and a joke me I make. These guys are total sellout. Any money move them, Andre. Any money move these politicians where we have a Jamaica, you know.
Boy, man, I have a funeral for going
But my
on.
brother,
I'm gonna
yeah man,
start
we
to prepare
the
myself
right up on
now.
it. Finally, how you stay up on the ground down there, how everything done on the ground.
Well, the JLP wanna change my contender, but
So
she don't want to leave. I
and we don't
mean,
want to leave neither, you know.
yeah, we know. I rub her out, man.
All right, my brother, just go
We
and
have
do the
a
work
big
on the ground.
rubber where we've been using over the last out of every the 49 PNP who left, who lost the 49 PNP who lost the last time.
Yes.
I am the only one who stayed.
At your constituency.
Yeah, out of all the constituencies, I'm the
Brilliant,
only
my
one
brother.
who stayed. So
Stay with the people.
what that has done is that has what that has done is that has given me longevity.
Yes. More
In the
respect from the
political
people.
stratosphere.
Yes.
Right?
Thing,
That
my
has
brother.
given me longevity in the political stratosphere. So that is the case. Jesus.
All right, my
Tea
brother. Well,
boil out and make some tea and
I saw it go. We'll make you go on and do your thing. We talk again, teacher. Enough
all
respect.
right. Big up to your fans and your listeners. More blessings every time, yeah?
One love, man. Dr.
All
Andre
right.
Arton.
Your blessings, teacher.
Blessings.
Everything.
One love. Economists extraordinary. On your ideas. Basil Israel. Them set you up on that channel here. You hear ideas. You ask a good question. But when I tell you how much it will cost, you realize the man not tell you that? Nah, I tell you. So, we are going to deal with security through technology. And we are going to deal with production through the culture and the creative industry. My next guest is ready. I'm telling you, share up the channel, like up the live. Yeah? My next guest is ready. Professor Chris Charles, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Welcome to Portland Spice TV.
Thanks for having me.
All around the world. Prof, sorry about that. Prof, you would have seen the Blue Dot poll. And earlier this morning, I said to some people that when the PNP put out the poll, the Dan Anderson poll, that said the PNP was leading and Mark Golding was leading, the JLP said it was a poll created for the PNP. And I said to myself, so a man thinketh, so is he. But what are your views on the Blue Dot poll?
All right. So for context, just state what the findings of the Blue Dot poll are, and then I'll take it from there.
The major finding is that they said that if an election is to be called today, the JLP would get 34% of the vote and the PNP would get 28%. They said that Mark Golding is trailing Andrew Wilness by about 8 points. But the critical one to me, they said that 42% of Jamaicans said that the economy, the country, is going in the wrong direction. And about 36% said 32% said it's going in the right direction.
All right. So just some context here. In Westminster, same thing in England, same thing in Australia. Who the leader is and how the leader is perceived,
yes,
affects the fortunes of the political party, whether in government or opposition. So the parties are closer together based on that poll in terms of numbers than the leaders are. So Holness is ahead by 8 points.
So they say.
Yeah, you're right. All right. So we would expect the numbers between the parties in Westminster to reflecting around about 6-7, because it is the leaders that drive the numbers within the Westminster system based on the conventions and the power of the leader within the party as opposition leader.
So these countries are more leader-centric.
Yes. So if when a poll comes out and the leader is way ahead, right, is rival, but when you look at the parties, they are closer together, then we have to take pause. We have to wonder what is happening. Just given how Westminster is. In other systems, we wouldn't be wondering what is happening, because sometimes, like say in France or Kenya, if a leader can just move and take a large part of the voting population with him or her, but not so in the Caribbean, where the leader, his or her as powerful as he or she is, his or her fortunes lie within the structure of the political party. The other thing is the polls previous to this,
yes,
Don Anderson and so on, showed Mark Golding
leading.
9.3.
Yes.
And if you take the margin of error, and I say it I'm gonna say it in a simple way, which might trivialize it. The margin of error is the extent to which the poll can be wrong. I mean, it's a crude way of explaining it.
Yeah.
So if it's 9.3%, you can say, okay, let us take away
the 3% margin of error.
Yes, just take it out of the 6.
So it's 6%.
6.3.
Right.
Right. So that 6.3% would suggest that outside the margin of error, over 5, it is a sizable lead.
Right.
Coming from where the parties were and the leaders were at the last election. So they have caught up. if the incumbent is losing popularity, the government in power, the incumbent is losing popularity, what this means is that, and we see this across liberal democracy, especially Westminster, once the leader, president, prime minister, or the governing party is losing popularity, it doesn't tend to get better. It doesn't, right? If it was a case where the country was polarized, right? And so, that's a different thing. Here, with the decline in voter turnout, only the large numbers of the hardcore on both sides turn out. And then you have the independent voters. So once the government starts to lose popularity, it doesn't get better. It tends to get worse. And looking at the science as we understand it in political science, and we don't say politics, we say political science, is a scientific understanding through scientific research of political behavior and political outcomes. So unless something significant happened in the body politics, right, we don't expect the numbers to get better for the governing party. So if we look at it with the allegations, and the prime, they say it's allegations, and he was treated unfairly by the Integrity Commission, and he's going to court and so on.
Right.
But if you notice, the case is in October, and it's likely that the election will be called before.
Yes.
It is because of the importance of that matter in relation to election outcomes. Why the court, who doesn't want to interfere in an election process, would say the case that the Prime Minister has brought against the Integrity Commission should start in October.
But Prof.
So I'm saying that there are so many things that are negative, and there's nothing in the body politic that we can point to that would give
this lead to the Prime Minister
than the governing party. So we always say it doesn't look good for the JLP. That's what we are saying.
Yeah.
So it's not impossible for them to win. It's not impossible, but it's unlikely, given what we know from the work of Carl Stone over the last, from he started the work in 1972, that once the governing party starts to lose popularity, it tends to get worse. So unless this government is a magician, they are magicians, and they are doing great things that all of us are missing. We don't expect that they should be ahead.
So you are saying that looking at this blue dot poll that has put the Prime Minister ahead now, you don't see how that work out?
Not from what we know. We are still waiting on more data, our own research. And in my case, I do modeling, which is different. The science of prediction is way advanced. We don't have to talk to anyone to know who's going to win. Right. We can get macroeconomic data, and we can look at it over many elections, right, to determine the outcome of the current election. So I haven't crunched those numbers yet.
But look at the local government election that was just held, and twin that with the Dan Anderson poll that showed the PNP coming from behind, evening up with the governing party, then moving ahead to a blue dot poll that said the GLP was going to win the local government election by a landslide. And in fact, blue dot had the GLP losing in a previous poll a couple years ago.
Well,
and now,
when I say losing, what you mean? Because I don't recall, and blue dot people can correct me. I'm asking
they
them
had a poll
to correct me. Just hold on here. From my memory, and I hope my memory serves me correctly. If it's not, blue dot can correct me. Please do if I'm incorrect in this regard. But from my memory, I can't recall a blue dot poll where the JLP has ever been behind.
Yes, man.
So which one was that?
I'm
so
trying to
remember
remember.
now when political science, as a political psychologist, when we say behind, we're not talking within the margin of error. We can't do that.
All right.
We can't do that. So that
all
is
right.
we can't.
Accept.
We
So
can't
they had a
function like
poll.
the media where
They had a poll that had
if
a
it's
dead heat.
within the margin of error, we say it's
Okay,
behind.
I understand
No.
you. So their poll, I think, was a dead heat,
deficit,
statistical dead heat.
Yeah, so the deficit has to be out of the margin of error. So
Right.
So if Blue Dot, as any poll with regards to the JLP being behind outside of the margin of error, they should let us know.
No, I think it was a statistical dead heat that the Blue Dot poll showed.
So they have a question to answer in terms of how things go. One person can be tied, right, or ahead marginally for such a long time, given changes in the body politic.
Yes.
And how elections normally go, and the ebb and flow of public opinion.
But quantify something for me, Prof. The first numbers said that 42% of Jamaica, and this was across all parishes, saying that the country is going in the wrong direction.
And so what did the others say? So 42 from 100 leaves how much? And what did that portion?
I think about 32% in some cases said the country is going in the right direction. I think St. Thomas at the highest for the right direction. I think it was about 40% in St. Thomas said it's going in the right direction. But
so
right across Jamaica.
So in political science, and when I speak, I embed and anchor the Jamaican data within the data as we know it globally, because voters are similar. And what Jamaicans like to call bread and butter issues are paramount in the minds of voters. And in the established political science literature, we say the economy.
Yes.
When people are saying, when they say the country is not heading in the right direction, they're really talking about the economy now.
Yes.
They're actually talking about economic well-being. There are other issues that impact it, but the main thing is the economy.
The bread and butter.
Right? Yeah, that drives party evaluations in liberal democracies. So if 42% is saying it's not going in the right direction, and 36, if
32 in most cases,
is saying that it's going in the right direction,
in the wrong direction,
in the wrong direction, right? So what the 42 was saying, what?
It's going in the wrong direction.
Yes, and the 32 is saying it's going in the right direction.
Yes.
Okay. So with these numbers, it doesn't square that the governing party and the prime minister should be leading that's
my bone of contention.
When so many people are saying the country is not going in the right direction.
Yeah. How you quantify that? No,
you make sense of it.
Make it make sense to
the
me.
The quantification seems off, but as scientists, we raise issues and we expect those who do the polls to respond.
So when we look then, as you said, when a political party, a governing party, start dropping points even in their second term, you don't see how they will come back looking at all that is on the ground, cost of living, corruption, crime, all of that. You don't see them how they could climb back to be leading now.
No. It would have to be something very big. So let me give you something big. So for example, there is no way the Jamaica Labour Party could have won the 2011 election, even with a change of leader.
Right.
Given the
Phillips and
Phillips and the Christopher Michael Coates extradition and the threat to the state and the clash for several days between gunmen in Western Kingston and the security forces. That was a shock to the body politic.
Right.
So you would need something like that on the positive side.
For the GLP to have them leading.
Yes. So we always say it's not impossible, it's not likely, because we haven't seen anything that is happening differently from what has been going on. And also, why it is strange to me, I can only speak professionally, why it is strange to me, voters tend to look at your performance across the election cycle. So let me say it another way. Voters tend to look at your performance over the 5 years and not not what you say
Right.
in the election campaign. So if what you say in the election campaign is at odds with your performance, you're not going anywhere. So,
Professor,
go ahead.
Prof, does political party use polls to sway voters?
All right. So there's widespread belief that the polls sway voters. Right? There's one demographic that we know that the polls influence. The funders.
Oh.
But that usually occurs when the funders see one party trailing the other by 10 or more points, consistently over several years. So they are clear. The hardcore supporters, and some of them do not understand the mechanics and how the poll works. So they will get nervous.
Yes.
But generally, voters are not fools. They don't have to be a university professor or have a university degree to know how the economy is impacting their lives. You don't need a degree. You're experiencing it every day.
You're feeling it at the supermarket.
So yes, right? So if you see a poll number that says the government is leading and you're feeling the pinch and you know that your neighbors and family members are feeling the pinch, and even your friends who support the opposing party, they're also feeling
the pinch.
So the numbers is at odds with your lived experience, right? Of your experience, your family, your friends, and other people you know. Then you're going to get suspicious. I mean, in Jamaica, we tend to think the voters are stupid. They are not stupid.
Are you suspicious of this poll that was put out by Blue Dot?
Yes, I have a lot of questions, and how we operate as academics, we'd never impugn their integrity. We raise questions,
right,
and we ask them to respond.
And some of the questions, you have said some of them before. Could you just repeat them for people who are just joining? Some of the questions that you would want to ask the pollsters and the people who...
Well, the first thing Blue Dot needs to tell us, have they ever published a poll where the Jamaica Labour Party is behind, outside of the margin of error? That means if they're in the margin of error, it's a statistical elite. But if they're outside, behind, in terms of deficit, behind, then they'll be trailing.
Right.
So they need to tell us if they've ever published a poll where the Jamaica Labour Party
is trailing.
Just behind the PNP, and it's outside of the margin of error.
Right.
Right. So we need to know this, because over time, especially over years, the fortunes of political parties fluctuate, not quickly, but slowly.
Yes.
Because in political science, in political psychology, we say voter preference is relatively stable, meaning it takes time. So if you do a poll like last July and you do one in October, you're going to get the same results once you're scientific, because voters don't change their mind that quickly.
That unless there's a massive event.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. A massive shock in the body politics, or in the polity, as we like to say. So that's one. The previous polls have shown that Mark Golding is ahead. At least 6.3 outside of the margin of error.
Yes.
Right? So we also know that in liberal democracies, especially in Westminster liberal democracies, that once the leader or the governing party starts to lose popularity, it tends not to get better. So how do they explain this bump, this rise? that their poll is showing. Also, do they discount other polls that over the last several years were showing the PNP creeping up and Mark Golding creeping up on the JLP?
Getting
if
level.
you look at all the polls over time,
right,
slowly the lead was decreasing.
yes.
So all of a sudden, there's a major change within the election year. How come? So they need to explain this to us.
Professor Christopher Charles, we're talking to him about the Blue Dot poll and the results. We're not discrediting the pollster. We're asking questions of the findings. Right, Prof?
Yes. All right. So there's another issue about who is the best performing minister.
Yeah. And who's
and
the
who's
worst?
the worst performing minister. So sometimes I have to remind my colleague that I'm a statistical modeler.
Yes.
And I do polls too for our clients, but I really build models. So I look at the macroeconomic data and other data and so on. And we make models and we look at trends.
And show trajectory and all of that.
Yeah, and we look at the output of the model, right? So I did one for the US election and so on. So.
And yours showed Donald Trump winning? No,
actually, and let me explain it this way, because I have to, because I did explain it on Herbert Gill. I'm not one who changed numbers because it's not suiting what I would like.
Right.
When the model came out, the output of the model showed Kamala Harris.
Outside the margin of error?
No, well, it doesn't have a margin of error. It just tell you who will win or will not win.
Okay.
Right. So that's why we use it, because you can't have a dead heat in a model. The output gives you something. So I was saying to my colleagues, the model, while it is robust, it is not giving the correct output. And how did I determine that? Because I presented the modeling and said what it said, at the American Political Science Association meeting. But I was saying to my inner circle, and Herbert Gill reminded me on radio some time ago when I spoke about it. When we looked at the elections, because I use all the American elections from 1952, right? Right up to 2020 to predict the one in 2024, I realize, because I have people around me who want Kamala to win, but when I looked, this is where you use the qualitative component now, not just the numbers, and this is where Carl Stone was very good. He used both qualitative and the quantitative. So, we try to follow him. He's our gold standard. So when I looked at the elections in terms of the presidents, who they were, who the incumbents were, who the opponents were, none had 35 felony conviction. None of them were accused of sexual impropriety. None of them were accused of lying constantly. All the negatives. None of them threatened to shot the top generals.
To overturn the election.
Yeah, and to shoot the top generals in the military because they disagree with the commander-in-chief.
Right.
So the elections that we used to forecast 2024 were radically different from 2024, right? And when we look at all the polls, the race was close. So it was telling us that, at least in terms of the model I built, that if the elections that I used to forecast 2024 were radically different, it therefore means I must take the opposite of the output that it gave me. And that's how Herbert said to me, I remember you telling me that, boy, Trump is going to win. That's how it looks. Even although my model was saying Kamala Harris, because...
But you couldn't see a man with 35 conviction becoming the president of the United States. The model wouldn't allow that.
Right. Well, you see, statistical models are very good, but you also have to understand cultural context. you also have to understand situation. If you look at the qualitative data, not just the numbers. So the elections were radically different that we used to predict it. Also, we looked at what other modelers were doing. We're looking at the polls. So even though the model was saying, we knew we had to take the opposite. And that's why Herbert Gill said, boy, I hear you. I know your model said Kamala Harris, but you told me that Trump was going to win. It's because it's not just the output, but how you interpret the output within a holistic context based on the science.
You have a model for the Jamaican election 2025 yet?
Yes, but I'm doing so many things.
Who is going to win the Jamaican election 2025?
No, we can't crunch the numbers quickly, so so I haven't done so yet. So I'm waiting. But my utterances this morning relates to the polls that I have some questions.
Right.
And just for them to respond to the questions I've asked. And also in relation to the Prime Minister being the best performing minister and the worst performing minister. My colleagues at the university, some of them call me, Chris, how is that possible? So let me explain something. The Prime Minister is the head of the government, right? Right? He hires and fires ministers. He's responsible for all the ministers of state, parliamentary secretaries, everything.
Yes.
Right? So when you ask the question, who is the best performing minister? The leader in that arrangement is likely to get the highest number.
Okay.
Because he or she is responsible for everybody. So even if you don't like a leader and you may have one or two ministers or some ministers performing, the Prime Minister is going to get that bounce. Just based on the existing arrangements in Westminster in terms of the power and the constitutional provision that informs the powers of the Prime Minister. And the fact that in Westminster Convention, the evolving culture, across Westminster democracies, the leader is very important.
Yes.
In terms of how people see the fortunes of political parties and how they do in terms of election outcomes. It's likely that people say the Prime Minister. But
So
if you ask who is the worst performing minister, who is the worst one now, that's when they have to pluck him out outside of his overall role at the top as the head of the government. And then you're more likely to get a true reflection of how people feel, which should be in congruence, which should square with, which should be in keeping with the leader evaluations in the polls.
Professor Charles, I want to thank you for being with us this morning, giving us your views on the poll and polls
professional
overall.
Knowledge. I tend not to give opinions or views.
Your professional
I'm not a political
knowledge.
commentator. When I speak,
right.
I speak from scientific understanding.
Yes, so your professional
understanding and knowledge
on what is happening on the poll and the polls overall. And you said that you're building a model for the Jamaican election. And we want to get back to you.
We have the model in it just to update it.
Right. So we want to get back to you as soon as you update it so we can have an idea of where you will be calling the Jamaican election 2025. Prof, anything you want to add finally before you go?
No, I would just like to implore the media just to understand how polls work, just to improve your understanding of statistical thinking. These are not hard concepts.
Right.
You cannot say a party is leading or behind if they are behind by 2 percentage points or ahead by 2 percentage points when the margin of error is plus or minus 3%.
Right. That's a statistical dead eat.
Right. So, but this is common. And then when we do our checks, when based on how you interpret the polls, we know where you put your political hat. So when I
Yes.
come, I'm speaking from the science.
Science.
Sometimes the
Straight.
science squares with the opposition, sometimes it squares
With the governing party.
with the government. So the
Right.
science now is saying that we have some questions that Blue Dot Nationwide needs to answer. That's all.
Beautiful. All right. Prof, thank you.
You're welcome.
Blessings. We'll be in touch. Professor Chris Charles. Yeah, man, a man who deals with political science and political psychology. Political science and social psychology from the University of the West Indies. We just looked at the Blue Dot poll. I want to open the phone lines now. 804-7072 and take your calls because holy things. How, and just like the prof asked, with all that is happening in Jamaica, a former poll, the Dan Anderson poll, showed the Jamaica Labour Party behind, showed the Prime Minister behind, and with nothing bombastic or where L.A. Lewis word name, nothing big happening to change the trajectory. We see the GLP in front. One of the questions Professor Charles is asking, has Blue Dot ever done a poll that see the GLP trailing outside the margin of error? Has that ever happened in Jamaica? 804-7072. Every program, Florence, we're going to be talking about Usain Bolt's money. Because we're not coming off of that until the icon get back in money. So boleous. So boleous. Nothing so boleous happened. Yeah, man. So 804-7072. Give us a call. Let's hear your views. Is Jamaica in a recession, economic recession? So boleous. So boleous. Yeah, man. The Blue Dot poll, you see, every time I hear a Blue Dot poll, the first figures that comes out, that's the only figures I want. Because if 42% of Jamaica said the country is going in the wrong direction, and then you're telling me that those 42%, most of them say that they are going to vote for the GLP, then you have me wondering. 804-7072. Welcome to Portland Spice TV. Morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Welcome.
100% Manlyite.
100% what?
Manlyite. Manly. Michael Manly Street.
All right, Manlyites. Where I say?
100% PG Patterson Street.
Talk to me.
Hear me up. 100% Portia Finson Street.
Colin Bell Show. Talk to me.
Mr. Bell, good morning.
Yes.
I'm a Portlander.
Welcome to the show.
Me not like what I want at Jamaica.
What you don't like?
Jamaica deserve better from this Prime Minister.
Can he give any better?
I don't think so. I have no more confidence in him.
But Blue Dot poll said most Jamaicans have confidence in the Prime Minister.
The Blue Dot poll is hypocritical.
Why you say that? You have to
Straight up, let me tell you something.
No, if you're going to say that, you have to give me reasons.
There's no way the PMP was leading the JLP and then the JLP overrun the PMP. I'm not saying nothing with dramatically happening in Jamaica.
So you're listening to Professor Charles?
Me listen to him right, show me. I heard what he said.
And you understand it?
I understand him 100%, and I'm convinced that the Blue Dot poll is 100% hypocritical.
I hear you.
They can't fool Jamaica people and they can't mislead us. You understand me?
But, all right. So the government fixing the roads. You know, the road are fixed everywhere.
No, the road don't impress nobody at all. Nobody at all. It don't impress nobody.
That are where you think. That are where you think
No, the road is supposed to fix.
Let me tell you something. We
Yes,
have
sir.
we have an MP in Portland that if
Yeah.
if a pothole is patched, she dance on it.
Is the worst MP in the history of Jamaica, the worst.
No, but people across the world, they are saying that she's working because them see she a dance on road.
Listen to me. Listen what I'm saying. No disrespect to this lady because I'm a married man and I love women down to the death. But listen to me. You see this sticker lady? If I was to give her an advice, you know what I would tell her? Find some church and go dance for some church choir.
No, man. People around the world say that this lady is working because every time they go on social media, them say she fixing a road. So,
sir,
what more you want the MP to do than fix road?
Sir.
What?
Let me tell you something. Let me say this thing. I have some diehard Labour Party friends in Portland. I'm in Portland, West Portland. And let me tell you something. These people are saying to me, when they look at the parish of Portland and see the disgraceful behavior of Portland, it's nasty and dirty, then say, listen, nothing is not going on away from Two Little Road and fix what you're supposed to fix. They're not impressive. Listen to me. The two bars, as far as I'm concerned, enough is enough. Time come. They have to go. They has to go. And where Usain Bolt money is concerned, let me tell you something. I don't hear the Prime Minister come out and say one single word concerning Usain Bolt and over 200 investors in SSL. I am calling on the Prime Minister of Jamaica. If he cannot address Mr. Bolt's money along with the 200 investors, he needs to resign with immediate effect and go. There's no two way about it. He needs to go. Incredibility. Listen, we lose confidence in this Prime Minister. We lose faith. We lose trust. Listen to me. This Prime Minister must pack his bag and go immediately. No two way about it. He mash up the country. He wreck the country. The country is in this graceful condition. It cannot work. It cannot work. So he can talk all he wants. Listen, we lose confidence in him. Time comes, he has to go. Have a good day, sir. Listen to the program. Take care of yourself. God bless.
Thank you very much. 804-7072. You can call me straight. If you are overseas, you can call me on WhatsApp. 876-804-7072. How the professor citing the blue dot poll, and he had not even seen the real scientific finding, reasoning for the answer. No, but they're not going to show you the scientific findings. That's why the professor is asking certain questions. That's why he put the questions out there for the pollster to answer those questions. Because one of the questions he asked, if they give credibility to other polls. Because remember, the last Dan Anderson poll said that Mark Golding is now ahead of Andrew Holness, and the PNP was leading by about 5% outside the margin of error. So we have to look on those. So those are the reasons for the questions, because he's not discrediting the blue dot polls. He's just asking some critical questions. 804-7072. Morning. Hello? Oh, the caller gone. So the questions are legitimate. One of the questions I have is, how is it that you say 42% of Jamaicans say the country is going in the wrong direction right across the country, but then in every parish the GLP is leading except for one? Talk to me, caller.
Yes, morning time, Mr. Colin.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, man, long time listener, first time caller.
Oh, why you stay away so long, my brother? Don't stay away so
long.
Well,
I tell you, man. Boy, all right, first thing, the narrative is to change the narrative from all of what is going on, you understand? Especially about the bold thing, you understand? So they're changing that narrative, you understand?
Mm-hmm.
They want for us to believe that something is going on that side.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? If you look at it, the Prime Minister not even to speak about to say, boy, young youth money. You understand? We are
Hold
so
on,
sorry.
caller. Hold on. Let me just say to the people in the chat room are saying that they're trying to call. You're trying to call on WhatsApp. You have to save the number to your phone. 876. And I suggest maybe you put a 1 before it if you are overseas. 1-876-804-7072. Continue, caller.
Yeah, man. If you look at even what Mr. Voggs, you understand? You don't know him love to come out with this suit thing.
And that me just tell us, mine you're calling him, and mine is sue me.
Oh boy.
It is a strategy of the GLP that when you catch them in a wrong, them say them going sue you or they take out lawsuit. So as to shut it down, that it don't go round. You understand? Like the Prime Minister with the finding from the Integrity Commission. The Integrity Commission say you have 28 bank account. The Integrity Commission say you use charity funds to buy stocks and bonds. The Integrity Commission said over $4 million was lodged to your account. The Integrity Commission say you're moving over $400 million between accounts. They don't want us to talk about those, so they threaten lawsuit.
That is so very true, man. So very true. But I think the policies that he's using, and I think they need to change, you know. Jamaican need to open their eyes and wake up. But this is a wake up call for us, you know.
Yes,
it's really
it is
a wake up call for us. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. But my friend, we have to just keep our eyes open and get our brains tuned to the reality, because as I hear Dr. Arden said earlier, this is a PR government. What they do is try to control the narrative. Yeah? And like me have some trolls now in the chat room. Father Perry, pick up your phone and call and give your opposing views.
So very true.
Yes, my brother. Respect here.
Yeah, man. All right then.
Thanks for calling. 804-7072. Anybody can call Father Perry, including you. Take up your phone and call and make we talk. Welcome to the Colin Bell Show. Talk to me. And remember, my brethren, Tuesday and Wednesday next week, we're going to be on, all right? Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, morning.
Yeah, man, go ahead. Hello?
On the matter of the ministers or our public servants who are working on our behalf, how can it be if varsing in the public sphere, we can question as voters, as persons who are, as taxpayers who are paying their salaries, why we can't question whatever we believe as a member of the public needs to be fleshed out? How soon coming at that?
Hold on, you can ask questions, but when you make defamatory statement, that's a different thing.
I'm not talking about defamatory statement.
So like I can say, Mr. Vaz, what do you know about the transfer of the SSL building to your stepdaughter? We can ask that question. But you can't go out there. Hold on. But you can't go out there go say him no and him this and him that. You can defame his character that way. So nobody have a problem with you asking questions. You can ask the questions.
But Sikapin, I am sure you said to the caller when you start ask questions, I'm threatening for sue.
Yeah,
I'm sure you said that.
No, they tried.
I'm sure you said that.
Yes, man.
So that is what I'm hold on, Mr. Bell. That is what I'm addressing. How can citizens of this country ask pertinent questions and the issue of suing come up? I mean, there's a non-issue, quite frankly.
Yeah, man. But when you ask
I'm not talking about defaming anybody's character.
But when you ask question and them threaten for sue, you just go up on your platform and ask the question again.
Okay, all right.
You understand? So what is happening is that they are frightening some people. So when you ask a question and they say, I'm going to sue you, you know, but ask the question again.
Yeah, but them are public officers, man. If them never want anybody ask them question, they're not going to them private.
All right.
Domain and leave public life.
But watch this, my brethren. Watch this. George Wright beat a woman with a stool. Yeah?
Yeah.
And nobody on this island, no journalist, no blogger has been able to ask this public servant about beating the woman with the stool. But the GLP are now telling us that he get counseling and him repent. How? What can go so?
Well, I can answer that. I can answer that. Simple. Look at the head of the stream. Our Prime Minister is being investigated for illicit enrichment. And every one of them, barring none, support his position. Nobody come out and say, well, boy, you need to demit officer until this investigation is completed,
You know what me I said to the people of Jamaica, locally and in the diaspora, any politician when I want to come to the media, the fourth estate, to be questioned, we shouldn't pay them no mind, no vote them, no forget, brother. How can you want to be a public official collecting public funds for your salary, but nobody can ask you no question? You don't go to the media. You know what the media tell me, say? The media, Port Antonio, tell me, say, him not have to talk to the media. A man sitting in a public office, tell me that. What can go so?
But guess who for sure is going to vote for them? The people above halfway tree. Cherry Gardens, Jackson.
You're joking.
All of them people. When you look at when the vote come out and you look at the cohorts, you see, you're going to see if them get any of the seats where them will get. You're going to go see where those votes come from. Then you know whether I'm a joke or not. So a lot of the private sector people, them are going to vote him same way. I whole heap of them.
But regular people are going to vote for them too, brother.
No, but I talk the people who you believe self-respecting people. Those I'm referring to.
Well,
people who like yourself and see where I'm going.
Those
and say, no, we can't support this. They themselves are going to vote him. That may I put to you. And the last thing,
hold on, before you go to the last thing. You see them people, where you say uptown have sense, them a vote for a reason, brother. They are a part of the establishment.
I never want to say it, my brother. I never want to say it, but
they are
that
voted.
Is the point I'm making.
The concern when me have...
That's the point I'm making.
Hold on. The concern when me have is the average Joe who votes for them, who is not a part of the establishment, who are suffer like dog, who them are trample upon.
No, the average Joe who ever vote for them is the one that sell them vote.
Talk to me.
The one that sell them vote.
I hope.
And the joke about it, how is it? The average Joe and the inner city people they on bus. I'm sure no Cherry Garden person they on none of them rally bus there. But when I say, how is it the emphasis is so much on the people that sell the vote and none on the people actually buy the vote?
All right, brother.
Because the people can't sell vote if somebody never buy it. And you never hear a politician or his operative get charged because he might buy a vote. You never hear that, and the question is why?
Well, we
understand this country.
We have to start demand something from Dr. Blake that coming up in the next election, the police must make an effort to hold those who are traveling with whole heap of money, buying vote all day. We're calling on the police. It is illegal.
And in closing now, as I close now, my bar.
Yeah.
In this election season, the candidates must tell the public whether they are one of the 8 in the illicit enrichment, because we don't know who them is all now. And apparently the election will be called without determining who the other 7 persons are.
All right, party. Respect.
Let me just make the last point of do.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
When the Prime Minister was asked how he never make any comment on SSL, and everybody said, it take 2 weeks before he said something. And he said that why it takes so long is the information that he received has to be unassailable and accurate.
Yeah, man, him can't come with nothing when
look now, so he actually come out after 2 weeks and he never state one word about SSL as to the 2 weeks that he took to get his findings and said, well, this is what happened at SSL. This is my findings because this is not unassailable, and accurate. He never said anything about SSL, even when he make him comment after 2 weeks. So me just
so to
tell you
date,
that.
hold on. So to date, the Prime Minister has not really made any statement on SSL.
No, sir. And that's the point. None.
Little more,
Let
brother.
alone. All right, Maria. Thank you.
Little more. Mr. Ed boy, I come in. Ed boy, where you the man? Come in, Ed boy. Come in.
Greetings, brother. Let me turn off my thing here.
Yes, man. Come in, Adam.
Yes.
Before you go, Ed boy, before you start, Ed boy, before you start, the Crawl report. I want to say this. The government paid an international forensic firm to come in and do some work with SSL, with the SSL issue.
Mm-hmm.
I hear labor rights calling for the report from the international firm that the Integrity Commission brought in to look at the Prime Minister's statutory filing. We are calling for the Crawl report. We want that out there. Or asking a question, was the Crawl report leaked to Nationwide? This is a question. Was the Crawl report leaked or given to Nationwide? How come Nationwide of these reports or a report issuing how you see money was moved? We want the answers. Go ahead, Ed boy.
But let me start, Colin, by making a statement of fact from hearing from you playing the attorney this morning.
Yes.
Usain Bolt made a transfer from his account. And if anybody understands Jamaica's financial laws, you cannot move more than $1 million in cash. That's a statement of fact.
And SSL does not take cash.
And SSL does not. Investment hubs are prevented from taking cash. They must do transfers. Even if it's $1,000 you're moving, you must deposit in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Right.
So that's one. So that means that Bolt money moved from a financial institution to an account of SSL. That's a statement of fact. And that is what his attorney says. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So any other information otherwise is nothing but a Gestapo propaganda. That's one.
Talk to me.
Two, no financial institution, and I pointed out on other programs regarding this because of my knowledge of banking. No relationship manager can go into a client's account. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You do not have the power to go into a client's account as a relationship manager. You're more like a customer service representative.
You know a question that we need to ask, Ed boy, and I've been asking it since about last week. Who is Jean Pantan's spouse? Boyfriend, man, or fiance?
And why do you ask that?
Da da dee, da da do, da ball out. Hallelujah.
I want to say to you, my friend, right,
Mm-hmm.
that this notion that Miss Pantan is responsible, everyone is now understanding that it is a figment of their imagination. First of all, if it is that SSL did not receive Mr. Bolt's money, how was it that they were generating statements to him, telling him which stocks and how his stocks have grown in Apple, in Google?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So it meant that they have committed fraud in producing reports of producing stock reports.
I am interested, you see, very interested in what Nationwide is broadcasting, where they get it from. Yeah? Why other media houses don't have it?
Colin, let me highlight this to you. We are talking about the Kroll report now.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I have pointed out to somebody the other day. I think I pointed it out to Andre Stevens. There is, you look in the FSC Act, the act which governs the FSC. When Minister Nigel Clark engaged Kroll, an international due diligence firm plus financial tracker, and that's what they do. They are the due diligence, best in the world.
Yeah.
Right? When he engaged them, he did not engage them as Minister of Finance. He did not engage them. It was not the government of Jamaica who engaged the Kroll, that engaged Kroll,
Who engaged them?
It was the financial services sector, the FSC.
The FSC.
Financial Services Commission. So it is not the responsibility of Minister Favour Williams. By the way, I need to tell you, Favour, you're out of place. And you need to be taken to Civics 101. Ministers do not run day-to-day affairs of public bodies.
So she's running a day-to-day affair. Where you get that from?
Why am I heading there? If she's going to say she cannot release the report, it is not her report to release.
Whose report to release?
It is the FSC who regulates the financial services sector. It is their report to release because they are the client of Kroll, not the government of Jamaica.
So what happened to the FBI? The FBI never come.
I am saying to you, Colin, let us stay on point.
No, but the minister, the then Minister of Finance said, boy, Dr. Nigel Clark,
the FBI was called in.
Yes.
And I'm saying to you, even if the FBI was called in, don't believe that lie. No FBI was called in. Because if the FBI was called in, certain persons would be now in questioning. Certain persons would have been summoned from Canada and from other jurisdictions like Turks and Caicos. Yes? And St. Lucia. They would be summoned. So don't believe that notion that the FBI was called in. Kroll gave their report to FID, to FSC,
yes,
to the Ministry of Finance.
Oh.
Yes. I'm telling you the entities that would have had that. And I think I'm missing one more entity on the list. But the real regulator, remember the FSC's role is to regulate the financial sector.
Yeah.
The Ministry of Finance don't regulate financial sector.
But the FSC comes under the report to the Minister of Finance, the Ministry of Finance.
Yes. But I'm telling you, my brother, the FSC has some sort of autonomy.
Okay.
Yes. So remember, so the minister can come to the FSC tomorrow morning and say, okay, go and lock down Colin Investment House. No, the FSC is going to say, Minister, but these are the thresholds, these are the acid test ratio we have to look at before we proceed in doing this.
But explain this, Ed boy. The FSC submitted a report on SSL to the Ministry of Finance. You remember that report?
From 2017, yes.
Right, and the minister said that him never get no report from FSC, hence the head of FSC resigned. You remember that?
Yes, which was a lie, by the way.
Hold on.
He
then gave further statement to say that he did submit a report to the finance ministry. The minister ordered the people at the ministry to search for the report. They search and never find it. Then the minister go search and find it in his cabinet. Why?
I like the irony in that he found it in his cabinet.
Why?
Yes? And I will leave it right at cabinet.
Why?
And I'll tell you why. Because it was a deliberate attempt at misleading the people. The same FSC. By the way, if a report was submitted to you on the status of SSL and you did not respond as the minister, do you know that same entity, because the FSC is supposed to brief the minister on the health of the financial sector.
Yes.
And he actually has monthly briefings with the FSC chair.
And one of the concerns you have to put in this mix now is that entity like the NHT, like NIS, and some more government entities had money invested in SSL,
and
including the chief servant, the prime minister.
But therein lies our problem. And that is why I'm saying to Jamaicans, let us not be sidetracked by just the issues surrounding Usain Bolt.
There
Because
you go.
yes, Usain Bolt is a private investor. He took up his money, he put it in SSL. And I feel it for him because he's been defrauded of his funds. But who poked the government to tell them they could take up NIF, they could take up the NHF, and they could take up the NHT, and also to the people of Portland, St. Thomas, and St. Mary, your banana board money was placed in there.
And we bring this to the fore, Ed Boy, to say to the people, to the labor rights who are saying to Usain Bolt, we never tell you if you put your money in there. Uno lie. The government said SSL had a clean bill of health as an investment house, and Jamaicans could invest in there. Because here we are as a government investing taxpayers' funds in this investment house.
No, but let me tell you something. We have never had a scenario where government funds was taken up and put into an entity. And you know, I've been looking at some of the numbers, and I've been looking at the 28 bank accounts. And I'm asking a question now in relation to the 28 bank accounts. I realize that some of the funds that came from a specific entity matches almost the same amount of money which is sitting at a particular account of an individual. Hello?
No understand you. You lost me.
Okay. So let me go back.
Move the bush
When
from around me.
When the Integrity Commission published its report on the 28 bank account saga, yes, it referred to an account being opened and a certain amount of money being put in there. Remember, $150 million went into an account in one day?
US,
right?
150,000.
Sorry, 150,000 US. That was the transfer from SSL.
Yeah.
Right? But there was also in one of those 28 accounts, one of the companies called Imperium, right? Imperium had done a transfer, had come to them for over 400 and something million. JMD.
Yeah.
I want us to go back. Let me tell you now, Colin, what is happening, why the Crow report cannot be published is in the Crow report has found, because what the Crow report did was they traced the money.
Yes.
And they have found accounts linking transfers from SSL corporate account. Because I want people to understand, you know, the lady at SSL, they had accounts sitting in financial institutions, which mean nobody could go over there and go in there, go take out money without authorization of the head of SSL.
And that's why I ask, who is Gene and Pantan partner?
Well, I mean, if the conflict of interest arises, because this is a whole conflicting situation, as our good friend Mr. Marsh says, SSL is source of labor right. Because when I see somebody coming out and talking about the transfer of property, and I looked and I said, but what is his affiliation to the GLP? This man was a former G2K affiliate member. And not only that, this guy was in charge of Gina Panton. She reported to him. And I'm not misputting any motives.
Gina Panton report to who?
She was reporting to Ryan Strachan, who was a member of the G2K, who came out the other day talking about the transfer of land with SSL. Yeah? Saying that if somebody transfer land 8 years ago, and now we're finding that this transfer was not necessarily 8 years ago, as they're making it out to be. Yeah, but the transfer was done in 2023. So this notion, and by the way, this thing, let me tell you, what a tangle web you weave when at first you practice to deceive. The Crow report is going to link individuals who have received money. When you're tracking money, the first thing you watch is which account it go.
Yeah, because one of the things is that I am looking at it, boy. They said that Usain Bolt money was moved in check. Then if check and cash, but if check move, then it's no 1, 2, 3 to find out who named the check right to.
Yeah, but Colin, I'll tell you again, you cannot write a check in Jamaica for more than $10,000 US.
Yeah.
That is the minimum. if you're going to move more than 10,000 US, you need to go through the wiring system. So then let them who come thinking that true, because they know the ordinary Jamaicans they don't really caught up with banking except receiving the pay.
Well, guess
they might
what?
put something there.
You know which part of them have a problem now? We are in the digital age where we have forum like these, where people can come and give credible information and educate the masses. So
no, I am telling you, my brother, and this is why you have always said these are some analog politicians, and they're forgetting they're living in the digital age.
Oh Lord,
yeah,
right there, so
nothing is hiding. And as I close, brother, because I know I don't want to. I'm sure somebody else might want a chance to come in.
Yes, and we're way past the time, but we're giving a few more.
I am of the view that, and it is my professional opinion, because quite frankly, I understand how money moves. Yeah, I am of the view that, and this is why the Crow report cannot come out. The directors or the persons who are involved in this whole SSL matter, they moved Usain Bolt's monies through American banks. Hello? Because there's no, in order for you to have a US account, you must be doing it through, remember, no bank in Jamaica has full correspondence. They have to go through an American bank. Whether it's Citibank, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, JP Morgan. Any the big five you can think of. Yeah. So they moved Usain Bolt's money through the same banking system, not thinking that it would have caught them. But what they did was move the funds through the US banking system and send them into offshore jurisdictions.
Oh. But head boy, go ahead, finish that thought.
Hence why we now have a scenario where somebody is related to somebody by marriage, now being on a company that's registered in St. Lucia, having now owned the building that SSL previously owned. Because that is their modus operandi. They have been moving the man's money, and them could take me to court, but it's been moving to offshore because there are certain jurisdictions, once the funds hit there, not even the great Uncle Sam could go down to go get it.
So you attack places like Panama and Cayman.
Well, Panama has collapsed. Cayman still has a public registry, but they're not bounded to report anything to you. Right. I'm talking about more strong jurisdictions like Belize,
Switzerland,
like Isle of Man. Switzerland still has public registry. Isle of Man, Cook Islands, and a place called Nevis.
Oh, you mean St. Kitts and Nevis?
A place called Nevis. And if you know the JLP, historically they have had a very good relationship in that place.
You're talking about Nevis right here in the Caribbean?
Right. Usain Bolt money cannot go through America. It cannot go through Europe because it would be traced.
Somebody's saying St. Lucia too?
The problem with St. Lucia, yes, it can go into St. Lucia. But because of ADMAT, St. Lucia had to restructure its public registry. Because if you are not doing business in St. Lucia, you cannot have a certain amount of monies in there. And so that is why ADMAT was closed and Imperium Holdings was created.
Oh.
Because St. Lucia had to change because they were coming under pressure, and they were coming under pressure because Holness was a PEP, a politically exposed person who should not have had an account or company set up for him in St. Lucia because he's a PEP.
Facts.
So let me tell you, my brother, as I close, those who with their sticky fingers and those who have benefited from the pilfering of the resources of Jamaica, we are calling on Minister Favour Williams, even though it is not your power to do, because it's not your damn report, pardon me expression. It is the report of the people of Jamaica who have spent their tax monies, 1.2 million US to pay for it, by the way. When we did already through SSL, we have lost almost close to 2 billion in Jamaican, right, from government entities. And it is the duty of the government of Jamaica to publish a report which speaks to the health of government institutions. So Minister Favour Williams, if you have any moral decency and moral fortitude and compass, which, by the way, I think you are a little bit better than some of them. Yeah? You should do the right thing and don't allow them to bully you. Publish report. Let the chips fall where they may. And if your boss or his associates are involved, let the chips fall where they may. My brother.
Schoolboy, one question before you go. Any Jamaican entity lost money in SSL?
I'm telling you, there's over 4 government entities, including our poor farmers in the Jamaica Agricultural Society and the Banana Board.
But did they lose any money?
They didn't get it back.
You mean in this dispensation right here, so now?
Yes, nothing was paid back to the JS. Why you think they were so busy trying to get out Mr. What's his name?
Fulton?
The gentleman that was Fulton. Why you think they were trying to remove Fulton from the JS?
Hold on. You are saying that the JS lost money is one of the entity that lost money in SSL?
They lost $150 million in SSL.
Me have to call Leonard Fulton right now. Little more.
Okay, my brother. And the Banana Board.
Little more.
Yeah?
Little more, okay. Boy. I call him Mr. Fulton right now. 804-7072. You're watching Portland Spice TV. And we are looking for Usain Bolt money. We're looking for Mr. Bolt's money. Where is Usain Bolt money? We want to find it because we want the legend get back his money. We must show every wannabe Usain Bolt that they will be protected in this country. We must show every little boy from down at Trelawney, from Rona Senton, from Portland, from St. Thomas, who aspire to be great and to go on the world stage and use their talent and make wealth for them and take care of them family, that they will be protected in this country of Jamaica, and we will not allow politicians with their sticky fingers to steal their money. It is time that Jamaica rise up from their slumber and look after your neighbor, not because it no reach your doorstep yet. You are saying no concern me, anything or anything. We cannot continue to run a country that way. Time come for a new direction. Time come for a government with integrity. Time come for leaders with honesty. Time come for people with vision to run this country. Rubbish. Rubbish. How many of us knock pot cover? How many of us cry when the national anthem is being played and the flag being raised? How many of us go abroad and big up with chest and say, I'm a Jamaican, you know Bob Marley, you know Usain Bolt? Morning.
Morning, Sir Colin Bell.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome. My question that I want to ask, right? Was somebody trolls them, and like especially from a certain radio station, these persons who purporting to be nationalistic, when they put out certain things, okay, nothing is wrong with someone choosing their affiliation to whatever they want to choose to. Nothing is wrong with that because it's their constitutional right and everything, right?
Yes.
But when you put out misleading, how do they feel within themselves? Because let me tell you something. You see, as the word say, you can fool some people some of the time, but you can't fool them all the time.
No.
There's more and more of some of these persons who call themselves journalists, because I don't think they are journalists now. I think they are reporters, personally.
Mm-hmm.
How do they feel when they come on air, especially mainstream radio? We're not talking about YouTube and these things, because YouTube is something different.
Yeah.
Mainstream radio and purport certain things, how they feel morally when them go in their abode by themselves or them family and person listen to these rhetoric and what they are spewing and say to themselves, how them feel? Do you feel that them have a sense of passion for the country?
Let me tell you something.
Like, yeah.
Let me tell you something. Hold on.
When you listen to Nationwide, I'm going to tell you honestly, when you listen, you can't tell me say everybody on Nationwide, honestly. If I I was a person who every evening want to listen to the news at Nationwide. No, I don't want to hear them.
Let me tell you something,
Is it
brother.
that everybody?
If you lie to yourself often enough, you will start
You want
believing the
to
lies.
believe it.
So they might believe that what they are doing is right and telling the truth. Some of them will know better, but some of them don't know no better. It's like cult. And that's why I tell people you have to be careful. Critical thinking is vital. That when a man tell you something, you must ask questions. You don't just bite it hook, line, and sinker. You remember the Integrity Commission report on the Prime Minister? You remember that You remember Nationwide was giving aspects of the report before the report was tabled in the parliament?
Mother, and if I saw them going for 300,000 or 400,000.
Yes.
I'm just saying, why somebody would carry somebody for 3-4 years for $400,000?
But my brother, the substantial point is that the report was not yet tabled in the parliament. How the hell Nationwide get the information? Nothing was done about it.
Everybody knows. Okay.
No, but nothing was done about
that.
it. And that's the problem, my brother. Something should have been done about that. Nothing was done. So here is Nationwide again, giving information from where we don't know, but they are giving information about Bolt's money.
So my question to you, right? So for instance, there's a change when there's a change of government,
yeah,
isn't that the Mark Golden administration? Because what I was seeing about taxes owed and all of these things can be investigated, and whatever things can happen can come out of them, right? Like if these are factual that they owe the government X amount of money, how do they staff it? So, sometimes I ask myself, a staff working at Nationwide, is there a gaga at Nationwide that a man at work and no same tax and this now pay and whatever it is?
Hold on, and make it clear. We don't know about that tax thing if it's true. If it is
true, we don't know. If it is true, we are talking about.
If it is true, there needs to be some investigation, because I have said it here before. If you are not tax compliant, you can't get government business. You cannot get government business, my brother. You have to be tax compliant. But I could take some more call here.
Cool.
Blessings. 804-7072. Quite a few people are calling. We'll take back your calls because we're getting off here at about 11:45. We're not going longer than 11:45. Talk to me. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, man, we hear you. Welcome.
Hello, Mr. Bell.
How are you, ma'am?
Hi. I'm good. I am good. I am calling from the UK.
Blessings.
Always upon your program.
Yes.
And I just want to ask a few questions. Because one of the things I'm concerned about, sir, is we hear about the Prime Minister being one of the illicit 8.
Yes.
But we don't hear about the other 7.
And we don't know what is happening.
Anything about that.
Well, the PNP, we are calling for them to come out themselves and say it, because guess what? We're going into an election and we are saying to the people of Jamaica, if them not clear these people, or you're going to vote for them, or you're going to vote for them.
That is the point I would like to make, because how on earth there are 7 and the Prime Minister making an 8th person within the parliament.
Well, I know one more caller.
Enriching themselves.
I know one more. Bobby Montague did come out in the parliament and said that he's been investigated by the Integrity Commission. So maybe Bobby's one. I don't know, because him say it in the parliament that he's been investigated, and he also went as far as to say that they are planning to arrest him before the local government election.
Here, and he's still walking about in the parliament. So how is it that any decent Jamaican, and this is where I get quite frustrated about Jamaicans, because there are 70% of Jamaicans who sit down and listen to the garbage that this man is spewing and say nothing at all and do nothing on the day of election. They sit by and them a ball and say them can't this and them can't that. And them can't pay them bill and them can't send them picnic go to school. Yet, sir, they sit by and have the right to cast this man to the uttermost part of hell.
And they sit down and don't. Well, you know what, Carla?
Still they do nothing.
You know what? This election is coming. So we're hoping that well-thinking Jamaicans would rise up out of their slumber and answer the call and go out and vote and get rid of this wicked and uncaring government, this corrupt government, the most corrupt administration we have ever seen on this island.
And sir, I totally agree with you. Mr. Bell, me say one thing I want Mark Golding to do, and I am praying that he will listen. If you ever have any kind of connection with him, Jamaica needs to call 3 days of fasting. 3 days of fasting and prayer and get rid of this man, because honestly, this man has done nothing more than brought destruction and crosses to our land. And we need to get rid of him. We need 3 days of fasting. We can do it with one, but the one is to get rid of him and the other and his cronies, and the other 2 is to give God thanks for getting him out of our country.
All right,
that is what we need to be doing.
Blessings and thanks. Yeah, man. Thank you. 804-7072. Welcome to Portland Spice TV.
Colin, morning.
Morning.
I'm not even sure if your program still on.
Yeah, man, we're still on live land.
Are you still live?
Yes,
all right.
man.
All right. I want to put in a pointer.
Go ahead.
I'm going to segue or detract a little bit from the main topic of SSL.
Yeah.
My point has to do with the whole shenanigans taking place in Portmore.
Oh.
I have a vested interest in Portmore.
Talk to me.
My property over there.
Talk to me.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I took my day off this week. I made about 20 calls.
Yeah.
And I was trying to get the pulse of the people in Portmore. Some of them are not even aware. Some of them are not even aware of what's going on. I kid you not. It might sound strange. But some of them say, what are you talking about? I say, you're living in there. I am overseas, and I keep my fingers on the pulse. I keep my ears to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know that they want to turn Portmore parish? They say, no. Some of them say that they have a voice. I say, well, talking alone won't do it.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get engaged. You need to get fully engaged. You need to get registered, one. You need to tell your neighbor, whoever in your circle, your immediate circle, to get registered. One way they will listen to you is when you vote them out. That way you put yourself in a position.
Hold on, caller. You say you call about 20 odd people. How many of them said that?
In Jamaica?
Yeah, man, hold on. You say you call
not all of them.
Hold on, man.
Not all of them.
You don't know what you're answering to. You say you call about 20 odd people. How many of them said that they want Portmore to be a parish?
Well, that's the thing now. As I can recall, I'll tell you right here, none of them want it. None of them want it.
Nobody out of the 20 odd people.
One said it was neither here nor there, because she had to live. But majority, the rest of them said they didn't want that. They were never in agreement with that.
So
Nobody, they would never agree to that.
You called 20 odd people, and
exactly.
you're saying 99% said no, and the 1%
they don't want it.
And the 1% said it's neither here nor there.
Yeah, because she had to live one way or the other.
Talk to me.
But from my interaction with that person, she was kind of tunnel vision towards her
no man,
grandkids.
but it's all right. Continue with your argument. Let's not go off on a tangent.
So I am making a public appeal via this medium now. People, please get involved. Don't sit on the sideline, because what happened in Portmore can happen anywhere else in Jamaica if they want it or they deem it to be in their to their advantage.
And
so please, people, get involved.
You know the serious part about it, my brother? It is called political gerrymandering. Because what the government is doing, and Warmington told us that what they are doing is ensuring that them have some seats under them belt. And how they are cutting it,
guaranteed.
Right, how they are cutting the parish is how they want it. When Mark Golding got up in the parliament and spoke and said that they are really dealing with boundaries, Desmond Mackenzie said no, they're not dealing with no boundaries because they're dealing with a parish. But the constitution in Jamaica said that you can't, a constituency can't straddle.
Cannot run through.
Can't cross parish boundary.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. Yeah.
I don't know where them are going with and think say people stupid. You understand what I say? So, my brother, give thanks for the call. We lose him. We lose him. Portmore is vital. And Portmore shows that we have a government that is taking our people for fools. They are taking the people for fools. Because when you try to tell us that you're not dealing with politics, and Warmington tell us that it's straight politics they're dealing with. Yeah, man, talk to me.
All right, so I'm calling with the arms. Say everything I put in place. Everything you can say everything I come when the Justice Minister, that's Del Right, Chuck, would make that statement when he say that the Integrity Commission is not supposed to the member of the House and the family member not supposed to reveal the finance.
Yeah.
So you see everything I come to place. You know, that's the reason why I'm saying it, you know, with VALs, with everything, with SSL and everything. Because just look into it and see what I'm saying to you.
Rise on a point.
Yeah. Because they want to hide what they want to hide. No, this is a bill that was passed by this government, you know. This administration really passed the Integrity Commission bill. And the request of a person who files to file for your spouse who lives with you, because the spouse don't live with you, you have to file for them, you know. It is a request that goes right across civil servant. How come politicians don't want to disclose it? And as I said to Marlon Morgan, you can't want to run a constituency, want to run a country, and can't run your yard. You can't say to your spouse, say, based on my job, yeah, and my obligations, you must give me your information. Crazy, brother.
Listen, the whole of them are hanging on for a string. Because it's time. It's the time.
Time come.
Remember, me tell you, me always have a word, me say, God on time.
All right, my brother.
Because Jamaica corrupt. Jesus Christ.
Somebody's asking me to name the corruption because I said this is the most corrupt administration. I don't know if you remember the Petro Jam with Miss Ramnarak. You remember all of that? You remember Ruel Reid? Ruel Reid? You remember that?
Yes.
You want more? You remember the Mombasa grass?
Listen, as him talk about Petro Jam, my brother was one of the top chemical engineer in Petro Jam. He was a top man. He was the one. My brother was one of them who negotiated that deal with Venezuela when Portia Simpson and PJ Patterson was. I tell you, my brother.
Yeah, man.
And my brother position was good. Them send my brother all over the world. 22 year out of service.
Yeah.
In Petro Jam.
All right, my brother. Enough respect and thanks. We're winding down. All right. Portmore. I want to show you this little clip here with Desmond Mackenzie about Portmore.
Mr. Speaker.
Hold on. Him say him rise on a point.
Rise on a point of order, Mr. Speaker. The bill that was tabled, and I opened the debate, and we are debating, in that bill includes no provisions about removal of political boundaries. Mr. Speaker, the member is misleading the House. This Parliament, Mr. Speaker, cannot
cannot alter or create political boundaries. We are creating a parish boundary, Mr. Speaker. We are creating a parish. And they must stop, Mr. Speaker.
Deal with him now, Marky G. Deal with him. Deceiver.
Mr. Speaker, the minister has made that point repeatedly, and it is disingenuous. Under our constitution, constituencies cannot straddle parish boundaries. And when you configure parish boundaries, as this bill does, running through the middle of existing constituencies, you are ipso facto reconfiguring the constituency boundaries. Stop deceiving the people. Stop it. Stop it.
We want to thank Dr. Andre Artin for gracing us with his presence this morning. We want to thank Professor Charles for gracing us with his presence this morning. We want to thank all the callers and all the people in the chat room. Big up to the labor right trolls them. We come here to learn and we hope to convert you, because when you hear the truth constantly, we know you have a conscience and it will prick your heart. May the good Lord continue to bless and keep you all. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his light and give you his peace. Until we meet again Tuesday evening, 5 o'clock. If you have not yet subscribed to Portland Spice TV, subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell. Tuesday evening, 5 o'clock. Wednesday evening, 5 o'clock. We're going to be here with the Colin Bell Show on Caribbean Radio HD, Wolipa radio station in the United States. Gone, we're gone. Blessings, my brother. Blessings, my sister. One love. One love. Thank you for your support right here on Portland Spice TV. To the people on TikTok, we'll keep you posted. Thank you very much. The word is love.